dangerous.
I'm not doing either of those.
Yes, you are, because you are a confident, powerful person. And 18 to 49.
And we are coming to you with some new information because we do have a tornado warning that was just issued for northern DeKalb County. We have a nasty, powerful line of storms that will continue to push in here as we go into the evening. These are dangerous storms packing winds upwards of 60, 70 miles per hour with the possibility here of bringing tornadoes to the region. So with that said, let's dive on in because we did just get our first tornado warning of the evening for parts of our area. I'm going to advance this, zoom in a little bit closer, and you can see for DeKalb County here. Does include parts of Ogle as well. This is out ahead of this line. You're seeing that intense rain, all of that lightning, and we're also finding rotation within the start of this line as it continues to press to the east. So northern DeKalb County, if you just got in this warning, if this was just issued for you, you want to get to your safe place. This is going to be for a good 20, 25 minutes at least until it gets into the western half of DeKalb County, but the tornado warning does remain in effect until 8:45. So at least for the next 30 to 35 minutes, we're going to be monitoring this storm situation. I do want to take the lightning off so you can get a better idea here of radar where we are finding the highest reflectivity values and the intense rain, even up towards Rockford, the possibility here of flooding. And with the storms tonight, it's getting dark out there, nighttime storm situation. This is not the time you want to take a peek outside. You just need to get to your safe place here. So you can see that line just now crossing over I-39. These storms are moving quickly to the east at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. So you need to get into your safe place as we go into the next couple of minutes here. So please keep that in mind. Let me switch over to velocity because National Weather Service noting some spin here. And what we're going to find as I switch over is we have a lot of wind out there in the atmosphere with the instability at play today, a lot of shear. So as this line continues to work into a very unstable atmosphere, it's picking up on that spin throughout the levels, and that's going to allow for some spin ups as well as the possibility of some tornado touchdowns here as we go into the evening. Some of these could be strong. So as we zoom on into this area, you can see right around Monroe, this is definitely an area where we're seeing some reds and greens next to each other. That's indicating that rotation within the band and the front line of this storm situation that will continue to work its way to the east here. So as we track this moving to the east, if you're out ahead of this storm, please be aware of the possibility here of a tornado touchdown not out of the question. We're going to continue to monitor this storm situation as we go into the evening. There's going to be a lot to digest as we go into the next 1 to 2 hours. But putting the track on this system, 8:15 Franklin DeKalb at 8:24, getting very close to you. Sycamore at 8:27 and Hampshire closer to about 8:41 if this line continues to spawn the possibility of tornadoes in this region. It will be an active night. We're looking at the possibility here of multiple tornado warnings issued across the area. This is an intense line of rain and storms, and what we're seeing is with this line, you can see the bowing segments here coming out. That is indicative of very strong winds. Even if you're not under a tornado warning, some of you under a severe thunderstorm warning this evening as well. That is for parts of McHenry as well as northern Kane stretching back towards DeKalb. We're looking at winds possibly reaching up to 70, 75 miles per hour. This is a very potent line of storms that will be rolling on through. So wind damage will be a main threat with us as we go into this the evening. We're going to toss it to Larry. You're monitoring the latest, seeing what's coming in from the National Weather Service as well.
Yeah, a couple reports up in Rockford at the airport. There are 58-mile-per-hour wind gusts reported with this storm as it's crossing over Rockford. And as Cheryl was mentioning, right along the leading edge of this storm is where the possibility is of a few spin-up tornadoes. So I've got our velocity data on, and this is where we can measure the speed of the raindrops up in the thunderstorm itself. So here's DeKalb, here's Kingston, over here's Sycamore, up here's Marengo, there's Rockford. So the storm itself, the leading edge, is just now moving into parts of DeKalb County, and it's moving through Winnebago County at this point. But I'll zoom in closer and I'll take off those lines because this gives us a really clear view of where these circulations are. You see these little notches where the reds and greens are not in a straight line. They kind of push in together and kind of bump into each other, and they form these little notches. Within any of these notches, and I count one here, there's one there, so there's 3 right there. There's another one down here for 4. Any one of those little notches could be producing a tornado. So that's why this is kind of a broad area that's under a tornado warning. with this storm as it moves off towards the east. In fact, as you put it in motion, you can kind of see the circulations that have developed right along the leading edge of the thunderstorm here. And along that leading edge, not only do we have the threat for tornadoes, but also the concern for some very high winds. This isn't a high wind event for us with embedded tornadoes within this storm complex. In fact, I'll switch over to the radar mode here and show you the intensity of the radar reflectivity mode. And you can see there's the tornado warning rather, which covers all of northern DeKalb County, including DeKalb, Kingston, Genoa, Sycamore. You're all included in the tornado warning here for the leading edge of the storm that's producing the high winds and possible tornadoes. Now, even back here where it's raining pretty heavily, there are still some very high winds embedded within that part of the storm as well. So we've got several things going on here. Embedded tornadoes along the leading edge of the storm, and then high winds once you get into the rain. So a couple of complexes of storms here that are sliding through. And as Cheryl was showing you a second ago, this is a pretty intense monster line of storms that stretches from southern Wisconsin clear back into Iowa, and it's all sliding into our area. Meteorologist Phil Schwartz is here as well with an update on this, because Phil, this is going to be a pretty long evening for us. We're going to have numerous tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings for the course of the evening.
Yeah, you know, we were talking earlier when we get these kind of lines of storms, severe storms, most likely this will end up being a derecho. We get these tornado warnings along the leading advanced line of these storms. Matter of fact, this is where the tornado warning is in effect until 8:45. Here's DeKalb, Sycamore's up about here, Genoa, Franklin, all in that tornado warning, and you can see it does extend up towards Rockford. The reason I'm pointing that out is that's where we've seen the most significant rotation. You see that little notch there? A funnel cloud was reported a little bit earlier in the evening, just maybe 15-20 minutes ago. This is moving east-southeast and will move into much of DeKalb County, at least the northern parts. There's other little notches, as Larry was mentioning, along the leading edge of this. And even if you're not in one of those notches, you can get wind gusts along this line of 70 to 80 miles per hour. That's already been happening this evening in parts of Iowa. So we're going to continue to monitor this. Look at this line. You can see the notches right there. You can actually see the rotation as this line continues to move to the east, now crossing 39 and heading into DeKalb County. And it will reach most of us in the next hour to 2 hours because it's moving about 40 to 50 miles per hour. There you see multiple lightning strikes with this, winds gusting to 75 miles per hour, and those tornado warnings that we're talking about. And this is just the beginning, because look at the rotation there and look at how the line extends all the way down south of I-80 once you get west of LaSalle, and notice the movement east-southeast right towards the heart of the area. This is going to get worse before it gets better. Looking at some of the tops of these, getting up to 40, maybe 45,000 feet. So these are big thunderstorms, very intense, and we do have that tornado warning for the northern part of DeKalb County. That is not the last of the warnings, that's for sure. These storms are moving rapidly east-southeast and will likely spawn more tornado warnings as we head through the evening. Let's go back over to Cheryl.
Yes, and what's really interesting, over the past 48 hours, we've had about 4 to 5 bow echo segments roll through parts of the Chicago area. And you know, if you're here, we have just been hit so hard with several rounds of very heavy rain, intense downpours, those gusty winds. We've been in and out of them. Another tornado warning just issued to the west of LaSalle, so we're watching out for you, LaSalle. All of these updates are going to continue to come in quickly here because the line of storms is moving so quickly. So with the bow echo segment that we're watching right now, this is one of the most intense, and we've seen the atmosphere, how unstable it is throughout the day today. We've had a heightened risk of severe weather that we were monitoring earlier, seeing all of this coming together. And what is happening? This is coming to fruition with the severe weather threat in our area tonight. So we just want everyone to be alert, stay with us. We're going to continue monitoring this, bringing you the latest, the warnings. Make sure you share with your friends and family the possibility of severe weather in the area tonight, and make sure you have your safety plan. Know where to go if you are under a tornado warning. You want to be in the lowest level of your home, a basement if possible. If you don't have a basement, in an interior room away from any windows. So please keep that in mind here, because these are going to be some strong, very strong storms with us tonight, with the possibility of tornado touchdowns as well as those winds in excess of 70 miles per hour. This line of storms is no joke. So with the latest, we did come on and cut into television coverage tonight because we just got our first tornado warning in our immediate viewing area here. So this is for northern DeKalb. This has been issued. It does remain in effect until 8:45. So we're monitoring this area closely. You can see the intense rain. Now, that is now just crossing over I-39 here. And then you can see just how the leading edge of this storm is bowing out. So not only are we looking at the possibility of some tornadic activity here within this little round that's moving through parts of northern DeKalb, but winds will be very strong with intense rain. So areas of flash flooding also will be a concern with this storm. If you're not under that tornado warning, just to backtrack, some of you under a severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15, DeKalb, Kane, McHenry, and then just off to the west of us, some severe thunderstorm warnings in place as well. So you can see those warnings that were issued here for McHenry until 9:15, and then that carries over into parts of Kane as well. We're going to continue to watch this line as it moves through DeKalb, getting closer to you for the possibility of any rotation being picked up with the front line of this storm. So let me just switch over to velocity because I do want to check on the latest of what we're seeing, and we're going to note some rotation signatures within this line, and that is just very typical for the weather setup that we are seeing with an intense line of storms like this, with the inflow basically riding up against the leading edge of the storms. That allows for that spin to be picked up, and that's what we're seeing. And you can see some of these notches. So this is what National Weather Service is dissecting and looking at, as well as we are here as too, and we can see the possibility of some rotation here. So this is what we are going to continue to monitor. There is some concern here definitely with some rotation with the leading edge here, and that's why that tornado warning was issued. So for those of you in northern DeKalb, this is just to the north of I-88 here. Let me zoom in a little bit closer. You can see if you're included in this from Franklin over to Genoa Sycamore as well. Burlington out ahead of this, something we're going to monitor for you. Kane County are out ahead of this, but right now we are noting that velocity signature right on top of Franklin. This would be an area of concern for us right now. So that's one area we are watching. Larry, you're monitoring the TRAD. Any updates coming in of any storm spotters out there with this storm right now?
Yeah, I haven't got any official reports of any confirmations of a tornado, but of course we're dark outside now, so it's kind of tough to see these. And plus they're getting a little rain wrapped as well along that leading edge, so they're really tough to get a good visibility structure on them. But as a reminder, when we have a tornado warning, and a warning is worse than a watch means be prepared for a potential warning. A warning means it's happening right now, so you need to seek shelter now. Go to a basement or the small interior room on the first floor. Avoid windows, move indoors obviously, and get under a sturdy object. I know you know this, but it's kind of a good refresher that this time of year with our tornado warnings that we sometimes get, know where your safe room is. And when I show you the overview of our watches and warnings, everybody's under a tornado watch until 1 o'clock in the morning, and then we've got a cluster of warnings here back for parts of Boone County and DeKalb County. That's where we've got the tornado warnings in effect until 8:45, and severe thunderstorm warnings for DeKalb, Kane, Kendall, LaSalle counties until 9:15, and also up here in McHenry County, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning as well. So all because of this really intense line of thunderstorms, which is marching really rapidly off towards the east. See the new flashing severe thunderstorm warning that's coming into the map here on Kendall County and northern LaSalle County. Along that line, we could be getting winds upwards of 65 to 75 miles per hour. So treat these warnings, these severe thunderstorm warnings, in addition to the tornado warnings, as if you would get winds 60 to 70, even 80 mile per hour winds, which could cause damage to your trees, to even your roof if you get underneath some of these heavier wind gusts. So be prepared for that as this huge cluster of storms makes its way off to the east. And it's moving at about 45 miles per hour. So to track it farther eastward towards the city, it'll be reaching Naperville at about 9:13, downtown around 9:45. Then over in Hammond, Indiana, around 10 o'clock or so. That will be the arrival time of the leading edge of this thunderstorm complex, and that's when you can expect the storms to really intensify with high winds and heavy rain. Now, we've had some really heavy thunderstorms here across Lake County. We had a severe thunderstorm warning earlier for parts of Lake County. Still pretty heavy storms right now over Waukegan up towards Zion, but those are not severe. But here's the latest update on the severe thunderstorms that are now moving through parts of Rockford, all the way down towards DeKalb, where we've got the tornado warning still in place. And as Cheryl was mentioning, looking at that velocity data, when we look at the spin here, we're looking for little notches that are showing up right along the leading edge, and there are still some notches right in this general spot here where we could be seeing some rotation that's producing a tornado right near Kingston. If you're in Kingston, over towards Genoa, Sycamore, DeKalb, you need to be in your safe room right now and let this storm pass on by. If you're over towards Hampshire and Virgil, be on guard. You're likely going to see a tornado warning issued for you as this storm pushes off towards the east. So Phil and Cheryl and I have been watching this closely, and you know, this is kind of a classic setup where we get these high winds that come through that can produce some quick spin-up tornadoes. They may not be terribly large tornadoes, but they could produce winds upwards of 100 miles per hour as they come on through. Phil, you got any updates for us?
Yeah, we did have a confirmed tornado just east of Rockford in the town of Creston. That's heading into Boone County, which is just outside our viewing area. But we're also seeing rotation a little farther south than that into DeKalb County, which is in our viewing area. This is I-88. So you get north of I-88, including DeKalb, NIU, obviously, Sycamore, Genoa, Franklin. That's where the tornado warning is in effect, and it remains in effect for about another 20 minutes. This is not the last of the warnings, that's for sure. This is the most obvious little wedge that you see right here. That's where we've had the tornado. It is heading almost due east, maybe a little bit south of east. That's just one area of rotation, because right along the line, we're seeing several little notches of rotation. That one's probably the strongest. Another one right here, getting very close to DeKalb. This is an area of concern because just measuring the winds, now granted this is a loft, 62 miles per hour. That will translate down to maybe 45, 50 at the surface, but likely the winds will be even stronger in many places along this line as it continues to move to the east-southeast. So we'll take a look at the traditional reflectivity, and you can see this nasty line of storms moving into DeKalb and extending all the way back down in towards the Quad Cities. This is what we're going to be dealing with as we get closer to probably 9:30 or so here in the city. We'll see these lines of severe storms moving in, and we continue to have that tornado warning for the northern half of DeKalb County. Let's go back over to Cheryl with more.
Yes, and I believe we do have our storm tracker out in DeKalb County right now, so we're going to bring you some live video, and there you can see that lightning, and it looks like they are just out ahead of that main line. We're not seeing the intense rain coming down just yet, but it does look very ominous and eerie. You can see the lightning there being detected, the wind blowing as well. That's going to start to really pick up here in the next 20 minutes where they are located right now. So we're definitely going to continue to monitor this for them, and keeping in mind that we want them in their safe place as well, in a safe spot and near a shelter in case they need to take shelter with this storm moving in and with the warnings that we are seeing right now. And as Phil mentioned, this is going to be, as well as Larry, an active evening. We have tornado warnings that just started getting issued for our area, and the likely we're going to see more. And even under the severe thunderstorm warnings tonight, don't take them lightly. They're going to be packing winds upwards of 70 to 75 miles per hour. So this is a dangerous situation here with the storms moving through tonight. So we do want to keep everyone alert and posted, and we're going to be here with you through the evening with these warnings moving in. So let's backtrack here. We do have the tornado warning issued for northern DeKalb County. We have been noting some signature here with our velocity indicating the rotation with the leading edge of this storm as it is pushing through DeKalb. Now, just about 10 to 15 minutes ago, this leading edge was closer to I-39. Just to give you an idea on how quickly these storms are moving, at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. So we're going to get these storms. They're going to hit you. You're going to have intense rain, lightning, the potential for those strong damaging winds for about 20, 25, 30 minutes, and then they're going to blow on by. But they can definitely do a number in terms of damage just because this line is so intense and so strong. So I do want to switch over to velocity. We're going to be talking a lot about this here into the evening and checking with the National Weather Service, and we've been looking at the parameters with our radar. The low-level wind shear is beginning to increase in our area, so that's going to allow for those spin-up tornadoes along the leading edge of the rainstorms moving through. So the potential for tornado touchdowns will be with us until this system completely moves out of our area. So the next several hours, we will be with a threat of tornadoes and high damaging winds. So we saw some velocity here that we were noting right around the Kingston area, now just pressing to the east of Franklin. So anyone here right along 72, Genoa, you're out ahead of this, and then New Lebanon as well. So anyone in this given area, we want you in your safe place. We are noting that spin here on our radar. There's a possibility. We do have some storm spotters out there, and I know they're trying to confirm if we have a tornado touchdown on the ground. I haven't seen anything officially confirmed yet, but I can tell you storm spotters are sending us some videos that are coming in with the potential of seeing those funnel clouds, the lowering of the clouds, and some tornadoes not out of the question here. So in this given area, anywhere really from Franklin stretching over towards Genoa, Sycamore as well, you are getting out ahead of this. Anywhere along this leading edge in the tornado warn zone, the possibility of a tornado is with us with very strong destructive winds. And we also have severe thunderstorm warnings on the map as well. That goes for DeKalb and Kane until 9:15. And then we also have to factor in the intense rains. We have flash flood warnings that will remain in effect or being issued with this line. So as they continue to move in, they're going to bring the downpours, the intense rains, and the possibility of flash flooding. We've had so much rain, rounds of that over the past 48 hours. Larry, what is the latest coming in?
Yeah, and you know, these severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings that have been issued, and you can see them on the map I have behind me. All the yellow boxes are severe thunderstorm warnings. The red boxes are tornado warnings. We've got the tornado warning for Boone and DeKalb County. And then southwest of LaSalle, there are more tornado warnings down in that direction. But I want to highlight these severe thunderstorm warnings in addition to the tornado warning, because within these severe thunderstorm warnings, we could be seeing winds upwards of 70+ miles per hour. A typical severe thunderstorm would have winds greater than 58 miles per hour. So these are high-end severe thunderstorm warnings. We don't see them this strong very often, but the concern is for some very intense winds within this line of storms, which is marching rapidly off to the east. Look at the presentation here on the radar. We've got an arc of storms from around just south of St. Joseph and Benton Harbor all the way up towards Racine and then back north of Lake Geneva. That's kind of the leading warm front that's lifted northward. But right here, this arc that stretches across north central Illinois all the way down to the south and west there, that's the core of the high winds with this system. It's pretty much going to be classified as a derecho, because by the time this ends, it won't be until tomorrow morning somewhere over towards Ohio. It's going to continue to barrel through off towards the east as we go through the night tonight. We've got several hours here this evening where we're in the thick of it, and as this storm pushes into your area, you're going to see the winds pick up really intensely very quickly once it starts to rain, and then you're going to get at least 30 minutes of very, very intense rainfall with winds gusting upwards of 60 to 70 miles per hour. I know you felt the storms last night. These are going to be worse than what we had last night for a good portion of the area because of the high wind concern. I have this tracked out all the way to the city, reaching Chicago right around 9:40, at least downtown, Gary around 10:12, Joliet around 9:30, and Cary here right at the top of the hour. So they're moving pretty quickly. There are still some storms over Waukegan, and we've seen some flooding concerns around Gurnee and up towards Crystal Lake and Waukegan from earlier storms. But this is where we still have the tornado warning for northern DeKalb County. And I've been watching the velocity data here pretty closely. And there are still these rugged edges along the leading edge of the storm, which could produce a tornado at any point. So right here near Kingston and then south of Kingston, heading down towards Sycamore, down towards DeKalb, this is the area where we could still see a spin-up tornado. We have not had a tornado warning extended into northern parts of Kane. Oh, there it is. Just popped on as I was thinking, why haven't they done this yet? And here they did it right there. So let me show you the new warning that just popped on the map. This is a new tornado warning for you folks over into parts of Kane County and also parts of McHenry County. You're now under a tornado warning here for Boone, Kane, and McHenry County until 9:15. There's the outline of the warning, concluding Seneca down into the northwestern portion of Kane County. You've got a tornado warning now until 9:15, and it's for this storm here where we're watching the notches. And as I go back in, zoom in a little closer here and put this in motion, right here, these little notches that have formed along the leading edge of the storm. If you're in Hampshire right now, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. The storm is going to be really close to you in the next 5 to 10 minutes or so as it moves on through. And I'll switch to the radar mode here, and right along the leading edge of this storm, look how messy this looks. I know Phil and Cheryl, we look at storms like this, and when we have a real clear-cut line, that sometimes just means high winds, but when you get these ragged natures to it, sometimes that can produce some spin-ups. Phil?
Yeah, and especially when you see those little wedges, and we've seen several of those, and now we do have that second tornado warning, and certainly not the last for the evening. There's the tornado warning that's in effect until 8:45. That's for the northeast part of DeKalb County. But then we get into both McHenry, the southwest corner of McHenry County, and into Kane County for the same line of storms. Now let's take a closer look at the rotation. Right there, you can see it just north of Genoa, very close to Kingston. Right in there is where we have seen some rotation. That's just one of these wedges, the most predominant one that we've seen so far this evening, moving just south of due east, almost running parallel to I-90. Here's I-90 and heading right into the heart of our area. So we're going to continue to monitor that. There's another wedge now just east of DeKalb. That is some rotation right there. That is a possible sign that a tornado could develop in that area. Doesn't mean there is one right now, but we are seeing so much rotation along the leading edge of this powerful line of storms that extends all the way up from Wisconsin down back into sections of Iowa. And you can see the rotation there, and look at all the lightning with this. As Larry was saying a little bit earlier, and Cheryl as well, yes, we've had severe weather the last couple of nights. This is going to be more extensive in that just about everybody is going to get some form of severe weather. Maybe not everybody, but much of the area will see severe weather with this. And you look at the tops of these storms getting up to about 40,000 feet. That's pretty tall for the tops of these storms, and they continue to move off to the east. There's the tornado warning. Here's Chicago. This is Kane County here. This is McHenry County under a severe thunderstorm warning. The red area is where we have that tornado warning. As we look, there's the tornado watch. That is in effect until 1 a.m., though I think the worst of the severe weather will move out of the area between about 11 p.m. and midnight. Let's go back over to Cheryl to see if we have any more warnings being issued.
Yes, we are noting some decent rotation under that initial tornado warning. So National Weather Service went ahead and issued that tornado warning out ahead of this line into parts of northern Kane as well as McHenry. So Larry was just showing you, as well as Phil, that updated area here into parts of McHenry. Marengo, you are included, but now for parts of Kane County as well until 9:15. We did tell you that we are likely going to see several tornado warnings issued for our area this evening, and that's what's happening because we are just finding a lot of rotation on the leading edge of this Bow Echo segment that's just going to power on through. This storm decided to blow up just about an hour to 2 to 3 hours ago in Iowa, and now it's just pushing into an air mass, and you could feel it outside just how muggy and humid. So much moisture and lift to work with, and now it's using all of that. It's tapping into the energy in the atmosphere, and it's basically just bringing us the straight line wind potential, the damaging winds, as well as just the severe weather that will come with the line of strong, powerful storms. So very latest, just to update you guys now, the tornado warning has been extended in parts of Kane and McHenry until 9:15. Here's I-90, there's McHenry, northern Kane, and this is out ahead of the tornado warning that was issued for DeKalb. That has shrunk down just a little bit. Kingston, you are now just basically on the edge of this warning, but it still does include parts of northern DeKalb into parts of northern Kane. So anyone here around Hampshire, you need to get to your safe place and make sure you're taking the necessary precautions if you are under that tornado warning. Let friends and family know as well. So we're going to zoom in here just a little bit. Let's go up to the north, and I'm going to take that tornado warning label off for you so you can get a better view of what we are seeing. Marengo stretching down towards Hampshire, and we also have a live view coming in for you now from DeKalb County, and I believe this is where a storm tracker was about 10-15 minutes ago, and it was dry. So they are getting the intense rains, and if you do look closely, I know there's a lot of raindrops there. That car driving by, you can see the intense rain coming down there on the bottom of your screen. You're also seeing the lightning being detected in the background, the winds picking up there a bit as well. So just a sign of what's to come. And what's really important, and what I want to stress right now, is that it's dark. It is nighttime. Traveling out in this, not advised. Make sure you are in your safe place, especially if a warning does come into your region. And if you do get a warning, a tornado warning issued for your area, just take this system seriously for us tonight, because we're going to likely have some damage reports coming in and a lot to assess as we head overnight and into the day tomorrow. That's just how powerful this line of storms is, and it's going to stay with us for several hours. So it's not a time to, I always say, don't step outside, don't look. It's nighttime. You can't really see. And with a segment like this, with such a strong line of rain and storms, any of these tornadoes will be embedded with extreme heavy rainfall as well. So very hard to detect and tell, but we are seeing and detecting it on radar with the circulation. So I'm going to switch over to velocity here. We are seeing the heavy rain, and the areas of concern right now are certainly for northern DeKalb as well as northern Kane. You need to prep, because this line where we are finding the strongest rotation right now, just to the east of Kingston, stretching to the south here in this area, very intense winds as well. You can see those brighter red reflectivity values coming in, and what I want to do is just query that quickly for us and get an idea of winds. And you can just see, this is just me clicking into radar estimated winds within the storm. Yes, 40, 50 miles per hour, but the possibility of those winds picking up in just a short amount of time is not out of the realm of possibilities. Again, with this line, we've had winds upwards of 60, 75 miles per hour. So right in this area here, Genoa stretching over towards Burlington, Hampshire, you're out ahead of this and beginning to see this signature pop up a bit more clearly as well. That is evident that we are seeing the circulation here on radar with us tonight. So just to the east there of 23 and 72, anyone in northern DeKalb and northern Kane up into McHenry as well. South Grant Highway there crossing over I-90, still finding some notches there. Larry, what are you finding with the latest?
Yeah, just got a report out of Sycamore, or I should say just north of Sycamore, up 23, which runs up to Genoa, of a gust to 60 miles per hour with this storm. So we're getting these winds gusting upwards of 60 plus miles per hour, and of course the concern for some tornado spin-ups as well. We're also getting some real heavy rain falling from these storms, and I got a new flash flood warning for this part of Lake County, including Waukegan, until 12:30 in the morning for storms that have just kind of continued to flare up in that zone. Here, of course, is our tornado warning, which Cheryl was just mentioning. Just to display it on a map here without the radar kind of cluttering the image, you can see the outline of the tornado warning covers a good portion of northeastern DeKalb County, northwestern Kane County, and southwestern McHenry County here. It's in effect until 9:15, and then around that tornado warning, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15, and a new tornado warning just has come out now for Kane County until 9:15. Let me take you down there, because I was looking at this area a second ago when we were tracking the leading edge of this. So the central part here of Kane County, you've got a new tornado warning until 9:15, and I'm going to switch right to velocity mode on our radar, because I was watching the little couplet right there. Yep, okay, I see it right here. Let me zoom in closer. So this is just near Maple Park and Virgil. You see this, this was the circulation that Cheryl was pointing out a second ago. A new circulation right here near Maple Park, heading towards the Virgil area, and then stretching over towards Campton Hills. So this is the new tornado warning for this curvature that has just kind of flared up on the radar image in the past 10 minutes or so. The Weather Service said, let's warn for this one too. So we got a new tornado warning here for central part of Kane County as that circulation makes its way off to the east. Live picture from DeKalb right now, Storm Tracker Live. They're in the thick of it right now with the heavy rain coming down, likely seeing some gusty winds. I don't know if we have a reporter in the truck right now. They are seeking shelter, and they left their camera up. Smart idea. Let that storm pass on by, and if you're at home right now and you're under a tornado warning, you should go to your safe room and let this storm pass on by, because it could produce winds upwards of 60 to 70 miles per hour, in addition to the concern of a tornado. So along this edge, and it's a ragged edge, we've got all these little circulations that have flared up that have prompted the tornado warnings. And then even where we don't have the tornado warnings, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings up and down this line, which stretches from the Wisconsin border clear down to the south of LaSalle. So look at this line right here. It's really intense. And we were mentioning the lightning with this storm. Let me show you the lightning counter, because I tell you, look at the number here. Over 2,500 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes in the past 15 minutes in our area as the storm comes on through. So it is some really intense lightning out there, making a lot of noise and putting on quite a light show. Yet to reach us in the city, probably around 9:45 or so downtown is when this storm complex reaches the city. Cheryl?
Yeah, Larry, I wanted to just touch base with you here because we are getting reports of a possible tornado, not confirmed, but you were just noting that velocity signature intensifying in this one area. So really anyone from Charter Grove and this area specifically is really where we are seeing that enhanced velocity signature right now. You can see New Lebanon there, but Burlington, you're right out ahead of this. We cannot rule out an imminent tornado in this area. That's the latest scan. Not looking as clear as the last one. That's a good sign. But with that said, we are still finding rotation here in this region. So right to the east, Burlington up towards Hampshire. I want you guys in your safe place. The possibility here of this area, of this storm dropping a tornado, that's not out of the question. And going back and forth with National Weather Service as well, they were noting a possible tornado heading towards Burlington and the Hampshire area. I'm going to track this for you guys. They are moving rather quickly, anywhere from about 20 to 30 to 40 miles per hour at times. So we are going to continue to watch these storms really cook to the east or make their way to the east rather quickly. And 847 Burlington. So just really in a matter of minutes here. Want you in your safe place, lowest level of your house. If you don't have a basement, an interior room away from walls and windows. The idea is to just have as much protection as you can from the outside, and you don't want to be near a window with any possibility of that glass breaking and damage there. And also you don't want to be on the top level of your home either. So anyone in this area, I just wanted to note that, Larry, you were talking about that, and that signature is really defined in that one region. Phil, you're also monitoring this closely.
Yeah, and that's the one we've been watching since it was west of Rockford. A couple funnels reported earlier with it. Obviously now it's nighttime and it's dark, so it's much harder to see. But we have that one tornado warning. This is going to expire here in just about a minute. That's for DeKalb County. But you get into the southwestern McHenry County, down into Kane County. This is the area right here that we have the tornado warning that remains in effect until 9:15. And velocity display really is beginning to show this quite well. You see that wedge right there? This is where we're seeing some rotation. Very close to New Lebanon, just a little bit south of I-90, heading towards Hampshire, Burlington, possibly getting into the North Plato area, closer to 9, maybe 9:15. So we're going to have to continue to monitor that. We go south. There's another. You see these little wedges here? That's where we're seeing rotation. Right around Virgil and just south of Virgil, heading towards Campton Hills, and eventually could threaten DuPage County in maybe half an hour to 45 minutes. So we're going to continue to monitor this as it heads into our area. Just taking a look at velocity aloft, about 60 to 65 mile per hour. That's when I investigated this area here, just west of Virgil. So a big wind gust with these, maybe not quite as high as that in some places, but we will see damaging winds as this entire line continues to move to the east. And it is an impressive line, a large cluster of storms. There you see it extending from north of Lake Geneva down through LaSalle and point south. And this is what's going to move across the area during the next couple of hours, likely reaching the city between 9:30 and 10 o'clock, depending where you are in the city. So there you see where the tornado warnings are in effect. The rest of the area under severe thunderstorm warnings once you get west of the Fox River Valley. This is a dangerous situation, especially for you folks right now in the northern parts of Kane County and southwestern McHenry County. Cheryl.
Yes, and an update here so you can see this line as a whole as it's going to continue to push on through. Now, DeKalb, you were under that first tornado warning for us of the night. That has since expired. So we are now looking at that leading edge pushing just past DeKalb. That is just the leading edge. DeKalb, you're still getting the intense rains, the downpours, severe thunderstorm warning still locked in for your region. The possibility of very high winds here. But out ahead, this is where we do have the 2 tornado warnings issued for our region. Kane County, you have a lot of action and activity. A lot of you getting these warnings right now if you live in this area, and then parts of southern McHenry County. So I'm going to switch on over here to just show you the tornado warnings that we have on the map right now. And you can see this is now for just Kane and McHenry. Southern McHenry here right along I-90 passing to the east here. And this is all for the leading edge. And you can see the curvature here of this leading edge of storms. And anywhere within this edge, any of these notches, the possibility here for spin-up tornadoes. So that's where we are finding the most rotation right now, and that's why we do have the tornado warnings that have been issued here. Again, for northern Kane, now this is just to the north of I-80 in this area. So zoom on in a little bit closer here. The winds and the heavy rain really beginning to pick up for parts of the Virgil area, Campton Hills. This is knocking at your door, removing that label so you can get a clearer view of what we're seeing and showing. But Hampshire, again, we've been talking about you. We've been noting some really decent velocity signatures in this area. So we want you guys in your safe place to stay safe. Virgil, you're getting in on a very heavy rain right now, and then some very strong winds anticipated here that will be heading towards the Campton Hills region. So a lot of heavy rain. Again, this is a lot of activity to take in. We're going to have a lot of warnings issued for our region for the night, but right now we do have the 2 tornado warnings here for, again, southern McHenry County, northern Kane, Hampshire, St. Charles, and Batavia. You guys had extreme or very active weather late last night. We're in that again. Batavia under the warning now as well. Campton Hills. Just switching over to velocity here quickly so I can get the latest view on the scans that are coming in here in real time with live Doppler 7 Max. And this is just really a signature look to what a textbook almost of this type of storm system moving in and what we're looking at for the rotation, the possibility of tornadoes with this leading edge. So you can see all of the notches here. You can see those little greens next to the reds, and just so indicative here of the spin in the atmosphere as this line pushes in and it encounters all of the wind shear that's happening out there. So Larry, monitoring that chat as well. Storm spotters are out there. I know it's nighttime, but we want folks to be safe and prepared.
Yes, and I've seen several pictures come across our National Weather Service chat of funnel clouds being spawned by these storms as they've moved through parts of DeKalb County up towards the Rockford area as well. So they have produced a history of at least funnel clouds, maybe even some touchdowns as well. And when you look at the outline of the warnings, you can see we still have the tornado warning for Kane County until 9:15 and a large severe thunderstorm warning. In addition to that, we also have the tornado warning for northern Kane County until 9:15 as well. I want to mention to the folks who are watching us right now that if you happen to lose power, and that's certainly a possibility here as we go through the course of the evening, you can always watch us online at abc7chicago.com or download our app. We're streaming all our weather coverage on our app right now as well. So if you don't have the app, you can download the app and get ready, and just in case you lose power. We've also got the severe thunderstorm warnings for DeKalb, Kane, Kendall, LaSalle counties until 9:15, and severe thunderstorm warnings for Morris down towards Dwight, down into Livingston and LaSalle County. I mean, literally all up and down this line of storms is where we have warnings issued, be it either tornado warnings or severe thunderstorm warnings. And even if you're not under a tornado warning, I would treat this storm as if it is like a tornado warning, because the wind potential is very high within this line of storms. Upwards of 70-mile-per-hour winds are certainly a possibility, and that would be a weak EF0 tornado in its own right as this storm pushes off towards the east. Now we've got a number of lightning strikes going on, and I showed this a few moments ago. Look at the counter now, up to nearly 3,000 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes in 15 minutes. Now this is the entire map outline, so it's basically all of northern Illinois. But this is a tremendous amount of lightning with this thunderstorm complex, and it's making a lot of noise, a lot of thunder, a lot of heavy rain with this activity as well as it's marching off towards the east. So zooming in again, and we'll go back into the tornado warned area here in just a second, but to track this towards the city, reaching downtown around 9:44, Joliet around 9:30, Naperville around 9:11. And basically over top of Lake Geneva as we speak. Storms are still rolling through parts of Lake County. We've got a flash flood warning here for Waukegan and the northeastern part of Lake County. But here's where the tornado warnings continue. And right now with our live Doppler 7 Max radar, these rotation signatures are basically right over top of our radar. So we're getting a really good vantage point of the low-level spin that's occurring within these storms. And you see there's a couple of areas here. This is just to the south of Huntley or southwest of Huntley. There's the updated scan. Right here's a little rotation right there. All this is in northern Kane County. And then farther to the south, let me move the map down a little bit here, and I'll show you the signatures of some rotation that was pretty close to Elburn. We had a really strong signature rotation back here. That has kind of weakened a little bit, and I can tell that by the fact that this has become more straight edge. It's more curved. There's not more of like a jagged little notch in there. So this is probably becoming more of a high wind threat for you folks from Elburn over towards St. Charles. But if you're in St. Charles and Geneva, I would be in my safe area right now. Take the family down there, grab the pets, head into the safe room, and just let this storm pass on by. The chances of a tornado are with us as this storm moves overhead, but the chances of winds to 70 miles per hour is pretty high with these thunderstorms that are pushing through. So we need to treat them very seriously, and I drew these on before I got the updated scan, so I'll move the arrows just to kind of reflect where we're seeing the spin and rotation within the storm itself. And these are the concerns that we're watching. We've got a lot of low-level rotation in the atmosphere that these storms are bumping into, and they're producing some spin, which is just enough to produce funnel clouds and potential tornadoes. So again, if you're in Kane County, from central to northern Kane County, you're under tornado warnings, and these storms are moving off towards the east at about 45 miles per hour. Phil, got some updates for us?
Yeah, Larry, as you were saying, the rotation with the cell in the northern part of Kane County, certainly stronger, at least for now, than the one in central Kane County. Nonetheless, there is a tornado warning in effect for central and northern Kane County, and that remains in effect until 9:15. Just to give you an idea where this is, here's Chicago. It's still a ways back to the west from the city, but these storms are moving east-southeast. The closer view shows, you can see it. You got to get west of Elgin. Here's I-90. These are the areas, including Campton Hills and now Batavia. Now we are getting a new tornado warning. Let me take this out of play and go south on this to show that.
Sugar Grove over towards Aurora and Naperville. Phil.
Okay, Sugar Grove and all the way down there. There we go. There you see the new tornado warning. It's for rotation out back towards Big Rock, moving through Aurora eventually, and then reaching Naperville as it continues to move to the east. So this is what we were worried about during the afternoon and evening, that would get these multiple spin-ups, and that's exactly what's happening, and likely we will see more. This one is actually getting fairly impressive. Very close to the Plato area, now moving east of Burlington. That's definitely some rotation right there. That's the one we've been watching. It's moving a little bit south of due east, so it will continue to head right towards Elgin and could affect Elgin in just a few minutes. The southern one not as pronounced, but let's go back and talk more about that other cell that we are seeing. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, Phil, I want to go back to that tornado warning for Sugar Grove and Aurora, because your cell phones are probably going off in this area, and the rotation signature is getting a little more pronounced here, almost over top of Sugar Grove. So if you're in Sugar Grove right now, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. Go to your safe room, let this storm pass on by. Same if you're in Aurora, North Aurora, stretching over towards the Naperville area. You're under a tornado warning right now. Again, your cell phones probably just went off if you're in this zone. And right here, where we've got the jagged little nature to the storm itself, the leading edge is where we're seeing the signs of rotation. Yeah, you got something?
Confirmed tornado now near Sugar Grove.
You got it? Okay, so that just heightens the alert even more so. Get right to your safe room as we speak, because you've got a confirmed tornado on the ground near Sugar Grove. And I'm going to switch over to the, yep, there it is. Okay, so this is our debris signature, and right here over Sugar Grove, you see this little bright shade of green. That's the radar picking up on debris that's being lofted up into the sky. So this is a confirmed tornado on the ground, basically right over top of Sugar Grove right now, heading towards the Aurora area. So our debris signature, which is our way to kind of detect if there's a tornado happening during the nighttime hours. I'll just go back a couple of frames. Boom, there it is right there. You see the signature. So what this is like leaves or dirt or anything that's being lofted up into the air. The radar can detect that it's different than a raindrop and show us where the tornado is. So if you're in Sugar Grove, Aurora, over towards the Naperville area, seek shelter now. Cheryl, you got something over there?
The very latest coming in with you, and you know, this is an eerie situation. It's not something we want to see. Of course, we're monitoring velocity closely. We see the notches, we've seen the rotation, but when we see a signature like this, this tells us there is a tornado, a confirmed tornado on the ground right now, just to the east and on top of Sugar Grove. So this is passing 47 here. Here's I-88. This is not what we want to see. So what happens here, we look at velocity and then we can confirm confirm with a debris signature capabilities with our live Doppler 7 Max. Basically, that radar will send out that energy, and when it's hitting objects that it's not used to hitting, such as raindrops, intense rain that's coming down right now, like Larry said, it could be the debris, the trees, leaves, anything. It comes back and it lets us know that it's picking up on different values that we don't normally see on our radar, and that's what we're seeing right now. So as meteorologists, we can tell you that we do have a confirmed tornado on the ground in this area. So this is a dangerous situation that we are closely monitoring, and this is all coming into us right now, but we are getting reports here in this region of a lot of sirens going off. You're likely hearing that from Sugar Grove over towards North Aurora, right along I-88. This is moving to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So let's track this here with the signature that we are noting. So getting closer to you at about 9:03, Aurora, Marywood at 9:04. Very dangerous situation shaping up in this region, and the possibility here to see more tornadoes confirmed and touching down this evening, and winds in excess of 50, 60, 70 miles per hour possible. We're seeing very high velocity values coming in on radar as well. Larry, this is a dangerous situation. We are seeing also this warning change. We are getting that confirmation of the tornado on the ground here. Anyone in this particular warning, this stretches over towards Naperville. It's getting into DuPage. Larry, we have a lot of folks in this area. Yep. Everyone just needs to get to their safe place.
Yep, that safe spot in your basement, the small interior room on your first floor. If you don't have a basement, you know the drill. Tornado warning, get the family, get the kids, get the dogs and the cats all down into that safe room, because this is a confirmed tornado here near Sugar Grove, pushing off towards the east. Just to show you the outline of the area, because sometimes when we have the radar data on here, you can't really get a good outline of the area. This is right along I-88. So if you're north or south of I-88 by about 5-10 miles or so in either direction, you're under a tornado warning right now from Sugar Grove to Aurora over towards downtown Naperville. So you need to be in that safe room as we speak. And going back to our debris signature mode, where we can detect the debris that's being lofted up into the sky, there's a spot right here that's just crossed over I-88 north of Sugar Grove. This is where that tornado is located according to the radar signature, but I'm also seeing a possibility of some signatures being detected here just south of I-88. So there could potentially be two little spin-up tornadoes developing as we speak. It looks like the one that's to the north here that I first pointed out, that one is likely for sure on the ground, but there's the potential here. I don't know if we can drop the banner for a second just to move that, so I'll move the map up a little bit so you get a better view. There we go, here we are. So there are two little spots here where we're watching the possibility of rotation that's producing a tornado on the ground. This one is most likely here just crossing over I-88. I'm going to take you right down to street level and show you right around Tanner Road, up towards Bliss Road, Denny Road. If you're in those areas, this potential tornado is basically over top of you. So if you're over towards Brenton Avenue, over towards Orchard Gateway Road, you need to be in your tornado safe room right now, and because this is a potential tornado on the ground. And then Galena Boulevard down here as well, near right over 56, this other spot where we're getting some debris being picked up by the radar, could potentially also be having a tornado on the ground in that particular spot. So a couple of spots here along the leading edge of the storm that we're watching here for potential tornadoes. And again, the confirmed tornado on the ground right now, right here near Sugar Grove, heading towards North Aurora and Aurora as we speak. Phil?
Yeah, and it is a confirmed tornado. It was sighted right along I-88. Here's the tornado warning we're talking about right here. This is the confirmed tornado. We still have one other tornado warning. This is up towards St. Charles, and we're not being dismissive of this, but this is the confirmed tornado that is now just to the east of Sugar Grove, and we are continuing to see right there, that little wedge there. It's kind of hard to depict, but this is where we're seeing it, right around I-88, just to the northeast of Sugar Grove, and it is moving to the east-southeast.
Now, mile marker 109 is where they confirmed a tornado on the ground at I-88 there.
Okay, in Sugar Grove, right? Or
yeah, near Sugar Grove, yeah. Mile marker 109.
So we put the display to show you where it's headed in about 10 to 15 minutes. It will be over Aurora, reaching Naperville by about 9:15 or so. And if we continue to see this rotation, potential tornado, Lyle, not potential tornado, confirmed tornado, about 9:20. There's the other place we've seen rotation. This has been going on for quite some time. It's moving to the east-southeast as well, and could affect the Elgin area if it continues to hold together. So we have those two tornado warnings. We have this massive line of severe storms moving through the area. There will likely be more tornadoes tornado warnings as we head through the evening. There's the 2 tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warning now in effect also for the city. We're going to, even if we don't get any tornadoes, we will get big wind gusts as these come through. But the major concern right now are for you folks in Aurora down towards Naperville as we have a confirmed tornado. Cheryl.
Yes, this is a dangerous situation, and we just don't want to take that lightly with getting reports of a confirmed tornado on the ground and radar still indicating the potential of that debris being held aloft in the air. So dangerous situation here, very heavy rain. You can see the tornado warning here, confirmed tornado on the ground under this warning here. So Aurora stretching over into DuPage and Naperville, you're included in this, and DuPage and Kane County in this warned zone. I do want to just switch over to velocity here quickly. And we're going to be toggling between velocity as well as our correlation coefficient, we call it, that basically allows us to detect debris being lofted up into the air. And you can just denote very high reflectivity values coming in. This is the latest scan. The update is coming in right now, right along I-88, passing just to the east of Sugar Grove now. I do want to switch over again to the debris signature, and this is just on top of Aurora right now, just to the south of Batavia here. So there's 31 and 25. North Aurora, right along I-88, is where we are seeing the possibility here of some debris. Now, it's not as, I shouldn't say as significant, but you can definitely see this signature coming in here. Usually, typically, it's a little bit more circular, so getting a bit more muddled, but here the possibility still of debris being lofted into the air, not out of the question. And I just want to, again, take off here our radar display, and what I do want to do, what I want to show you is as we zoom in a little bit closer to this region so you can get an idea of exactly this area. As I take this off of North Aurora, we're going to zoom in a bit closer here, and you can see right along I-88, Sullivan Road, Mattel Road is in this area. I just want to step aside so you can get a good idea and vantage point of exactly where we are talking about. We have that business park here. There's 31, there's North Aurora, crossing over 25, I-88. Out ahead of this, we have Mitchell Road, and then this continues right along I-88, Church Road in this region as well. We have a lot of folks in this area. These are neighborhoods. We are seeing homes. So anyone in this region, if this is where you are, if this is where you live, if we're calling out street names that sound familiar or even close by to you, we want you to get into your safe place. This will continue heading to the east in this area. So there's a lot of people and a lot of information coming in with this one storm, particularly dangerous situation. And then another debris signature noted down to the south, very close to Oswego. So watching this closely in this area. If you're in this area, the potential here also for a tornado touchdown. Larry, what's the latest here?
Yeah, no warning for that one just yet. Actually, they just warned it as we were talking about it.
I'm not surprised. That's exactly why, because we're getting that we're getting that confirmation here on radar right now with the potential of that tornado. Does it come in confirmed, or are they saying radar indicated with this one as of right now?
This one is radar confirmed as well. So because the debris signature that you're showing there, they're saying this is a confirmed tornado as well. And keep us up here on the dual screen, because Cheryl's got the debris signature there. I've got the reflectivity. And so Cheryl zoomed into this part of the storm over Oswego, where we've got a confirmed tornado on the ground near Oswego. That's moving off towards the east, towards Wolf, and it'll be passing just south of Naperville. And then we still have the tornado warning here in Aurora. The actual circulation with the tornado warning here for Aurora and Naperville is basically over top of the Fox River as we speak, right along I-88, and it's moving off towards the east. There you see it there. And what Cheryl was pointing out, and you can see it there, Cheryl, it's kind of weakened a little bit in its circular nature. So it's probably more of like wind, straight line winds being picking up debris, but that one to the south is still pretty tight right now.
But also we want to stress that even straight line winds could pack really a lot of damage with winds upwards of 60, 70, 75 miles per hour. They could be just as strong as tornadic winds. So everyone under these warnings really needs to take them seriously. A lot of damage can come out of straight line winds as well as tornadoes. So very, very good point, especially being it's late at night. But yes, this one signature coming into the south here just east of Oswego is definitely something we want to note. So the confirmed tornado, and there you can see that warning with a Larry on the map. So Oswego stretching to the east. It's going to get very close to I-55, Bolingbrook, as well as Romeoville. So
Plainfield area, just north of Plainfield. If you're on the north side of Plainfield, you're in the tornado warning area. All the way over towards Romeoville and Bolingbrook, you're in the new tornado warning here. And of course, the stretches right over the I-88 corridor from Aurora over to Naperville, you're also in a confirmed tornado warning at this point. And just to go back to the reflectivity mode, because this cross section here where we've got both screens up and we're showing you the reflectivity mode, which is, you know, this is the traditional way we show the radar because it shows us where the rain's falling and coming down. The debris signatures that's on Cheryl's map there gives us an idea of what is actually up in the sky itself. If it's raindrops or if it's debris, be it leaves, dust, dirt, hopefully not building debris, but that's a possibility. And right over Wolf's right now, and I'll zoom it in here on the radar too, because the circulation that's still producing a tornado is now moving out of Oswego towards the Wolf's area. So if you're along 59 here, the circulation is going to be coming towards you in just a few moments. But right over Oswego right now, over towards the county line, and then stretching off to the east. And Cheryl, you got the track there. Let's give you the timing.
Yeah, so we're not getting a whole lot of city information from this, but just to give you an idea, in the next 10 to 15 minutes, this will be getting close to Bolingbrook. So if you're in the path of this storm right now, right on top of Wolf's there, and then getting close to I-50, this is a dangerous storm, potentially with a confirmed tornado on the ground. Tornado debris signature coming in with this storm. Just looking at the latest chat coming in with the National Weather Service right around Oswego, and this is tracking to the east. So we are going to say here we have a confirmed tornado on the ground. And again, this is just the type of atmosphere and environment we are seeing with these showers and rain and the line of very strong storms moving in. So I just want to take you again back to what we're finding here. We're going to do a regional view. You can see the line of storms coming in with the warnings on the map right now. We have 3 tornado warnings at this time. We have one that's issued for up to the north. We have Kane County here, DuPage and Kane County now getting in on this. And you can see this is the one that we've been talking about, the confirmed tornado on the ground getting close to Naperville. This remains in effect until 9:30. And then just to the south with the newest warning that is issued here for Kendall and Will, northern Will County, now in this area, this region, with a confirmed tornado on the ground. I want to toss to Rob Elgis right now. You have information coming in for us.
Cheryl, if you're just joining us, just a quick note about our weather coverage. We're scheduled to be on ABC News with a special report, special coverage of the Republican National Convention. It's night 1. Because of this active weather threat and tornadoes touching down confirmed in parts of our area, we've broken away from that coverage for now. We'll rejoin that special as soon as this threat passes, but it might take some time. But you can also see it on channel 13.2 if you have that, or ABC News Live. You can, what is it, 7.2? Okay, 7.2. If you want to watch the convention there, you can do it on 7.2 or ABC News Live. But I want to get back to Cheryl, because Cheryl, Phil, and Larry tracking a real threat as tornadoes move through the Chicago area. Cheryl, I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, these are just dangerous storms, and we were anticipating and expecting this with the environment and the atmosphere that we are sitting in and feeling just a lot of spin out there. And this will be with us for at least the next hour to 2 hours. They are moving very quickly at about 40 to 50 miles per hour, but I do want to bring you the latest tornado warning that now remains in effect until 9:45. This does include Kendall and northern Will counties. So Romeoville, you are included in this. So let's zoom in a little bit closer. Let me just take off the lightning here. You can get a better idea. So northern Kendall County, just to the east now of Bristol, stretching in to northern Will, I should say. So Kendall, Oswego, you're getting in on the very heavy rain. This will be crossing over into northern Will County. We have Bolingbrook as well as Romeoville. This is where we were finding that debris signature in this region, and National Weather Service also confirming the tornado touchdown. We're still finding that here on radar. We zoom in. It's been staying consistent just now to the east here of Wolf's. Out ahead of this, Bolingbrook, you are in the path of this storm. Confirmed tornado on the ground. We can tell this with our radar. We have that capability with the debris signature. We can tell when we have items and objects being lofted up into the air, and that's what we are seeing and confirming in this region. So a very dangerous storm as this is pressing to the east. So anyone in this area, in this warn zone right now between I-50 59, I should say 55. You're included in this, and Bolingbrook area, Romeoville included in this as well. You need to be in your safe place. So Larry, we are zooming in and showing exactly where we could potentially see this confirmed tornado continue to travel through this region.
Yeah, and it kind of looks like these spin-up tornadoes spin up and maybe last for 10-15 minutes or so, and then they become more of a straight line feature, and then another part of the storm will kind of spin up another possible rotation signature. We got the split screen again just to show the debris signature and the actual radar. We'll go back to that in a second, but let me show you the larger view here, because everybody that is in line to be hit by this line of storms right now has severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings with it. And zooming back into where we've got the tornado warnings, the new tornado warning has now been extended to include you folks in Downers Grove, up towards Oakbrook Terrace, almost to Elmhurst. If you're in Darien as well, over towards Woodridge, Willowbrook, you're in the southern flank here of this tornado warning, and it includes Westmont as well. You're under the tornado warning, the confirmed tornado warning for that part of the storm. On the split screen, you can see there, Cheryl's on the part of the storm right from Naperville southward, where we see the kind of the bright shades of yellow showing up around the Plainfield area. That's the southern part of this storm where we've got the tornado warning, and then also the tornado warning right here, right along I-88. And I'm going to zoom in closer here on our radar for this northern tornado warning, because this is the one where we got the newest update for a new tornado warning for parts of central DuPage County. And right here, just crossing over 59 is where this circulation is located. I'll switch over to the velocity mode and show you that right here is where this rotation is. So it's almost to 59 right now, and it's been hugging I-88 this entire time. So if you're in Warrenville, Naperville, even up towards the Winfield area, you've got the really high potential of seeing the possibility of some high winds up to 70+ miles per hour and the possibility of a tornado still within this cluster of storms that's moving through. And just to get to the debris signature here, there are still these little, I tell you, Cheryl, it's not as clear as it was earlier in terms of a clear circulation where it's just completely evident for us, but there could be a lot of debris that's being lofted up into the sky from either A, brief tornadoes, or B, just some really intense straight line winds, which is lofting dirt and tree limbs and branches up into the sky that the radar's picking up on.
Yes, we want to say it's a good sign that it's not looking as circular. However, it is a bit muddled, and when we're still getting those returns that are showing those bright reflectivity values here for this instance, that's an indication that we are still seeing the possibility of some significant wind damage in this area.
Oh, Cheryl, they just issued a tornado warning for now parts of Cook County.
Okay.
So let's, this is a huge tornado warning. So I've got it on the map here. You can see the flashing red box. This is a new tornado warning which includes all of southern Cook County, almost all of Will County, stretching back into parts of Kendall and Grundy County as well. That's in effect until 10 o'clock. So this is a large tornado warning box for this area. And it's not a confirmed tornado, but it's for the possibility of many spin-up tornadoes right along the leading edge of this storm complex. So this is the newest update we have, is a pretty large tornado warning box covering Joliet, Madison, down towards Peatone, southern Cook County as well. You're included now in this tornado warning, which is, usually typically, Cheryl, you get these small little areas of tornado warnings. This is a massive box right now.
And this line has had a history of producing tornadoes, and they have been confirmed. So not surprised that National Weather Service went ahead and issued this large of a warning. It is a bit difficult, though, for those of you that want to seek shelter and get to your safe place when it does encompass such a large area, and for those of you still well out ahead of the main line and the threat. But this is why we're here with you this evening. We're tracking these very closely, and for those of you that are in the region where we're finding the storms coming right now, very close to the Joliet area in Will County, this will be getting closer to Cook County, I would say, in the next 20 to 30 minutes. But if you are under a tornado warning, get to your safe place. Stay with us. You can continue to stream us too, take us with you if you can't keep us on a TV close by, if it's not in your safe place, just something to keep you updated with the line of storms that will continue marching to the east. So Plainfield stretching down I-55, Joliet, this is really just knocking at your door right now. Larry has velocity up, and you can clearly see those notches and all of those signatures coming in with the velocity showing us the potential here for rotation right on top of Naperville right now. We want folks in Naperville in their safe place, certainly at this moment.
Yeah, anybody here from Naperville down to Plainfield, you need to be in that safe room right now, that safe area. Let this storm pass overhead. And if you're downstream here, if you're over towards, say, Downers Grove, over towards Willowbrook, over eventually towards Westmont as well, you need to be taking your tornado precautions right now as well. You've got a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes if you're over towards Westmont or so, for that circulation to move over top of you. And the same here in northern Will County, near Plainfield over towards Bolingbrook, and maybe even down towards the Romeoville area. There's some circulation that's developed there. And we've got the 2 confirmed tornadoes that we've been watching. Is this a new tornado warning?
This is a new tornado warning that has just come in, and it includes the O'Hare area as well. So this is just going to continue to stay very active this evening. This is for parts of northern Cook County now, DuPage and Lake. So giving you an idea of the area here, just moving my radar just a little bit.
Yeah, I took off the radar here, and you can see, I mean, this is, wouldn't you agree, Cheryl, this is the ugliest map we've seen in a very long time.
Yes, and I know when our viewers are watching us, they're seeing a lot of colors, a lot's going on at this moment. We have several warnings on the map, but we're going to take you through them one by one. We're going to keep you with us here as we continue to monitor this. But right now, the latest tornado warning for Cook, DuPage, and Lake until 10 p.m. Rob Elgis, I want to throw it to you right now with some information.
Okay, Eric Hong is in our storm track. We want to check in with Eric. Are you on your way to Sugar Grove? Eric, can you hear me? Hey, Eric, we're live on the air. Where are you at?
I do hear you. We are on our way to Sugar Grove, North Aurora area. What we're hearing, there was we are on, I'm sorry for the delay here. We are on I-88 right now, headed east to Sugar Grove, North Aurora area, where we did receive that report of a possible tornado touchdown not long ago. We came from the DeKalb area. That's where we were around 8:10 this afternoon, or this evening, I should say, when tornado sirens went off downtown in DeKalb. We quickly scrambled over to a fire station, Fire Station 1, over at the DeKalb Fire Department. They allowed us to stay there and seek shelter there until that tornado warning in DeKalb expired about a half an hour ago, and now we are en route on I-88 eastbound right now to Sugar Grove, North Aurora area, where again we're receiving that report that possibly there was a tornado touchdown. We don't know exactly what we're going to see when we get there, but we are headed that way. I can tell you right now it's extremely dark here on I-88. The rain is coming down still rather steadily here. The winds haven't been too bad in this particular area. We did not hear of any kind of reports of damage in the DeKalb area as we were leaving. In fact, we were talking with the firefighters there, and they had been talking and not been hearing of any damage in town. So that's good news for DeKalb, but again, we're headed east, and we'll let you know what we find when we get there.
Sounds good, Eric. I want to send it back to Cheryl Scott. She's with our meteorologist tracking active tornado warnings right now in the Chicago area. Cheryl?
Yeah, there's a lot of activity right now, and National Weather Service even noting how many areas of circulation we are finding on this leading edge, and that's why we do have so many warnings on the map right now. I know it's looking a bit cluttered, but what I can tell you, between now and 10 o'clock, if you're under an area where we do have that tornado warning, they pretty much do exist for the next 30 to 45 minutes. The ones for Cook County in effect until 10 p.m. So I want to take off radar here just so we can give you an idea of the warnings on the map right now. Where we have those outlined pink areas here for parts of DuPage, where we have Naperville stretching to the east here, this is where we've had confirmed tornadoes on the ground. And then just to the south for northern Will, in this pink outlined area as well, if you're in this region, we've had confirmed tornadoes on the ground. And then the possibility of tornadoes touching down in any other zones that are warned, that is possible. So please take these warnings seriously right now. So the latest warning that just came in for northern Cook County here, and that does include parts of northern DuPage as well. This remains in effect until 10 p.m. It's 9:20 now. So these storms are racing to the east at about 30 miles per hour. And then just to the south, a very large area under a tornado warning. So if this line is coming to you and moving through, anyone from northern Cook stretching all the way to southern Will right now, Now, a lot of you have the possibility here of a tornado in your region. Now, they are going to be spotted and isolated along this leading edge, but just to give you an idea, that is how significant this storm system is and how potent and how strong and how much spin there is in the atmosphere to see this many warnings on the map at one time. So I just wanted to go over that because I know there's a lot happening on the map right now. So let me switch over to velocity, where we've been noting the confirmed tornadoes, the notches, the spin here stretching up into parts of DuPage and Naperville and the Westmont area. So right in here, right on top of Naperville, you can still see here some very strong winds, and we're noting those notches, the inflow into this storm right now. So very strong winds, a tornado possible in this region, not out of the question. I need to switch over to the debris signature here on this area. So this is continuing to push to the east, not noting something as significant as what we were seeing earlier when we did have that confirmed tornado on the ground, but just passing to the east of Naperville now, I-88, right along I-88 and the Downers Grove region currently is where we're finding some very, very strong winds with this storm. Larry, I'm hearing a lot of updates coming in. I know there's a lot of wind damage reports coming in as well, very large trees being downed out of this system, and that's just a sign of how powerful and strong this line of storms is.
Yeah, damage reports coming out of Oswego right now with major tree damage at Judson Avenue, and then also a funnel was reported at Boulder Hill about 5 minutes ago, and Saugatuck and Sonora roads there in Kendall County. A funnel cloud was reported as well. And basically what we're doing here is we're watching these storms blowing now closer to the city, and they're in the western suburbs and the southwestern suburbs as well. Basically, we need to treat this like this entire line is a tornado warning. So you need to go to that safe room if you're still in line to be hit by these storms, because not only can they produce a spin-up tornado, but they are going to produce winds anywhere from 60 to 70 miles per hour over a very large area here, a very populated area. So we're looking at pretty extensive tree damage for a lot of zones here in the western suburbs down towards Joliet and the southwestern suburbs as well. And just to highlight, and Cheryl was showing the velocity data, let's go in from north to south here and just check out the spots where we're seeing rotation, because there are a number, and I mean a number of different areas where we're getting rotation. Up here from Inverness to Schaumburg, potential tornado over Inverness right now. Same around the Schaumburg area. And I'm just pointing out where we're seeing the spin and within the radar. It doesn't necessarily mean there's a confirmed one on the ground, but we're getting that rotation signature that tells us, hey, this is a spot where there's likely something going on. Down towards the Wheaton area, another circulation right here near Wheaton as well. This entire area is under a tornado warning. And then farther to the south, right now the circulation that we did have a confirmed tornado on the ground back in Sugar Grove, it's now pushing right over Downers Grove. So right along I-88 here near Downers Grove, around Ogden Avenue, and then stretching over towards the Westmont area, you need to be in your safe room right now. In fact, my family's in this zone right here, and I just texted them. They're in their safe room right now because this is going to pass pretty much over my house here pretty soon. So this is a circulation that has a history of producing a tornado. Doesn't look as tight as it was a few moments ago, but nonetheless, we need to treat it like it's still producing a tornado right over Downers Grove. And then even farther to the south, where we still have tornado warnings in effect, right over the radar site here, this is the National Weather Service radar. There are some signs of rotation right over Romeoville. In fact, the National Weather Service folks, they're in their safe room right now because this potential tornado is right over their office. And then farther to the south, look at this. Look at the curvature here around Elwood. Farther down to the south, up and down this line is where we're getting these rotation signatures. And Phil, it's been a long time since we've seen this many spins within a line of storms.
No question. By the time this is all said and done, I would not be surprised if we have over a dozen reports of confirmed tornadoes. We don't have that yet, but we have 4 tornado warnings that are in effect for the area right now, and that does include the north side of the city, though the heaviest part of the storm is still back to the west. And look at all of these areas that are under a tornado warnings. These ones with kind of the magenta boxes around them, those were where we had confirmed tornadoes. However, what you get with these is you get these brief spin-ups, Those fall apart, and then you get more spin-ups elsewhere along the leading edge of these storms. Let's take a closer look, because now getting just to the east of Lisle, heading towards Downers Grove, there's a good indication of some rotation. Just up around Wheaton, another sign of rotation. In 10-15 minutes, those might be gone, and they'll be somewhere else. But Downers Grove, get ready. This cell is heading right over you as we speak. We go a little bit farther to the south and to the west. You see how we get these little wedges here down towards Romeoville, and right here south of Naperville, south of Lisle really, and about to cross I-355. That's another place where we're seeing rotation. So numerous places of rotation, including up here to the north, just north of Bloomingdale, close to I-90, another area of rotation all along this dangerous line of severe storms. So even if you don't get a tornado out of this, you're going to get tremendous straight line winds that could be as strong as a weak tornado. And that's the case with this line as it continues to move east. It will likely reach the city here in about 20, maybe 30 minutes, and you're going to notice it as it continues to move to the east. Cheryl.
Yeah, I mean, this is just so impressive from a radar perspective. We have nearly half a dozen areas of circulation on the map right now. So this is just so indicative of this storm system spawning tornadoes and the potential of them confirmed on the ground with us this evening. And we've just been going in and out of where we're seeing
we got a confirmed tornado on the ground over Manhattan right now as well.
Okay.
So just come across.
So let's take you to that. Do you have that pulled up right now?
Yeah, let me pull it up here. Let me get over to the debris signature map. You can see, okay, I got the debris signature up right here. It's kind of tough to point out. Here's Manhattan. So there is a little bit of a signature being reported right here on the debris signature. This is south of Joliet, south of New Lenox. This is where we're getting reports of a tornado on the ground here. Probably pretty close to US, is that 32 or I think that's 32.
52?
52. My eyes are bad.
No worries.
That's 52. Yes, I should know that. That's 52. I've been down there several times. But there is a little debris signature being picked up in this spot right here where there's possibly a tornado on the ground, or confirmed at least by the National Weather Service with this particular storm. I'm going to switch over to the radar mode and just kind of see. So again, this is on the leading edge of the storm complex, and that's where we've seen all these spin-ups. Right on the leading edge of the storm is where we're getting the high winds and the spin and the rotation within the storm itself, and that's the case right now over Manhattan. So if you're in Manhattan, over towards Frankfurt, New Lenox, off to the east towards Moni, you need to be in your safe room and let this storm pass on by. Cheryl, you got the velocity data there. How did that look?
Yeah, I'm just going back and forth because there's so much for us to look at to kind of detect where we're seeing the most spin in the atmosphere. And just coming out of that Jackson area, crossing over and heading towards Manhattan, that's really, I think, this area that we are concerned about right now. So right there's 52, out ahead of this 45, New Lenox. You're just off to the north there.
And Cheryl, another confirmed tornado in Joliet right now too. Just getting word of another confirmation of a tornado in the Joliet area. This one passed just south of Romeoville, pretty close to the National Weather Service office, which is pretty much near Lewis University. So just south of Lewis University towards the Joliet area, another confirmed tornado moving through that area as well. And in addition to, as you were speaking, we got a tornado warning for now downtown Chicago. So your cell phones are probably going off here in the city and the loop as well. We've been included in the tornado warning. So at this point, Cheryl, all of Cook County is under a tornado warning. I can't tell you the last time that's happened. Maybe it's never happened.
Right.
But all of Cook County under a tornado warning right now.
I can't recall this ever happening as a meteorologist here in Chicago, to have the entire county. But not only that, what's really alarming is that we are finding so many areas of circulation, and then we're looking at velocity, we're looking at the correlation coefficient, we're looking at the debris signatures, and there's tornadoes touching down. We could have a half dozen tornadoes touching down at the same time along this line here as it continues to march to the east. So everyone right now needs to get to their safe place. Remember, I said that these were warned out ahead of the main line. Well, it's getting closer. It's now 9:29. All of these warnings will remain in effect as of right now until 10 p.m. And a lot of us under that confirmed tornado touchdown warning at this point in time. So Chicago just got issued under this confirmed tornado warning in this area. So it's all with this line pushing now Naperville. right on the boundary here of that warning, but it is now passing to the east, so the threat is now diminishing for you. However, still very heavy rain and intense winds. I-88 over towards Westmont, you're in the path of this warning, and out ahead of it, that's where that new warning was just issued. I'm hearing so many alerts coming in. There's a lot of train spotters out there as well. Romeoville up towards the Chicago area, reports of possible tornado touchdowns and confirmations in this region. So there's a lot to go through. There's a lot to comb through. Larry, I think we just need to take this warning by warning and zoom on in and start showing streets and neighborhoods and dive in a little bit closer so we can let people know that it's time to get to that basement or get to the lowest level of your home.
And pretty much, if you have yet to see the storms arrive, you're basically in a tornado warning right now across the city in Cook County and even down into parts of Will County, because this entire area has a tornado warning with it. And so you need to get to that safe room. If you're in a high rise, go into a small interior room in your apartment, especially away from the windows if you can. If you can get down to the bottom of the building, that's even better, just to seek some shelter. We've got a few minutes yet before the storms reach the downtown and the city proper area, but the storms are coming and they will pack some very high winds as they push on through. And again, the tornado warning covers all of the city. So let's go closer here on the velocity data. I'll start to the north, and this is where we've got tornado warnings in effect for Mount Prospect over towards the Inverness area. Right now, there's a potential tornado here heading close to the Wheeling area, just near Mount Prospect. There's also another potential tornado here just along 290 near the Schaumburg area, near the mall here. Looks like there's another spot where there's some circulation and a possible tornado. None of these are confirmed up here in the northern parts of Cook County, but by looking at the presentation on the radar, there's spin in the atmosphere that could prompt a tornado. If you're in Elmhurst over towards Bloomingdale, this is another spot where we're watching a potential for a tornado. You're under a tornado warning. And then right here, crossing over the tri-state, pretty close to Oakbrook Terrace and right around Drury Lane Theater, right in this general area, there's another spot where we're seeing rotation being picked up by the radar at this point. So that's another spot we're watching for a potential of a tornado. And then down to the south of that, from near Westmont here, right over Ogden, here's 83. This is a zone right here over Hinsdale, heading towards LaGrange. Potential tornado in this particular area as well. And then even farther to the south, we've got more circulations that are prompting the possibility of tornadoes. And right now, looking at this is probably the most likely where we have tornadoes on the ground near New Lenox. This is the one that just came through the Joliet area. Right here, just north of I-80, coming up on 355, that's a tornado likely on the ground that we spotted back in Joliet. And then south of New Lenox, the other spot where we have the tornado on the ground near Manhattan, still just north of Manhattan. This is probably a tornado on the ground, given the signature we're seeing right now on the radar. Cheryl?
Yep, and I just zoomed in. If you want to keep that velocity up, I have street view with you here. So here's Manhattan, and then we're looking at all of this area. If you're in this region, if you're hearing any of your streets, you want to be in your safe place. Definitely a true signature of a possible tornado on the ground in this area right now. So we have Cedar Road, we have Smith Road in this region, Delaney Road. As we travel a little bit farther off to the east, we're going to find 45 right there. Zooming in closer, you can see this gets right around Center Road as well. Monee, Manhattan Road out ahead of this. I know I'm seeing a lot of open land as well, but I know we also have a lot of homes in this region. So this is going to be in the area where we're really continuing to fine tune, where we're finding the worst signatures of rotation on our map right now. So it's just to the north there of Manhattan in this region. Joliet also seeing a very good signature here. You can see that couplet of red and green right next to each other, and that's now just passing to the east of Joliet. There's I-80, I-355. Homer Glen, it looks like you're just north of that immediate circulation that we're finding on the map right now. But again, too close to call. I would just say stay in that safe place at this moment in time. We travel a little bit farther to the east. There's Marley, there's Orland Hills, there's Tinley Park, there's I-80 still. So we're moving right along I-80, getting closer to Country Club Hills, Markham as well. Oak Forest, you're in the path of this storm as well. You're under that warning, but this is where we are finding some decent velocity and rotation within this storm. Okay, extremely strong 100 mile per hour winds being reported in Homer Glen and New Lenox. So this is exactly the area that we were focusing on here. This is significant. Even if you have a tornado touchdown, you don't need a tornado touchdown for destructive winds when they're reaching up to 100 miles per hour. This is a dangerous line. We're going to get a lot of reports of damage out of this area, so make sure you are in your safe place at this point in time. Larry, you're dissecting this region as well with me. We have both of our screens up for everyone, continuing to monitor here very closely some strong winds. I know if I query the winds coming in from this region,
they're not showing up at 100 miles per hour.
They're not going to show up, but reports coming in that the possibility of them getting up to that point, if we're seeing or we're getting reports of that from storm spotters and National Weather Services relaying that information, we do take it seriously.
Here we go. Now,
there we go.
Yeah, just on the latest scan. So these darker shades of pink, they're querying about 50 miles per hour is what they're querying, but we're certainly probably getting higher wind gusts within that line of storms for sure, because we've got confirmation of higher winds earlier this evening as they came through. But I tell you, where you see these kind of brighter shades of pink that are popping up, that's an acceleration of the wind going in this direction, and we're also getting an acceleration of the wind coming in this direction, and that's creating spin right over the Frankfurt area right now. So certainly a possibility of a tornado on the ground in this zone, and then also up here near Homer Glen as well, and getting close to Orland Park, there's another circulation. You've got the whole thing tracked out, Cheryl. Give us those times.
Yeah, exactly. Frankfurt at 9:36, Tinley Park here at 9:42, Oak Forest at 9:47, Chicago Heights at 9:52, Sauk Village there at 9:58. These warnings remain in effect until at least 10 p.m. So if you're out ahead of this, you need to be in that safe place, taking the necessary precautions, staying alert and staying safe with us as these continue to pass on through some very dangerous storms.
We've got a new tornado that's likely heading towards the O'Hare Airport right now. I don't know if we got a camera up there. Let's get a live shot of O'Hare right now, but a potential tornado heading right towards O'Hare right now as we speak. Here's what the Weather Service is saying. So this is the first time I've ever said something like this. Approximately 10 tornadoes in progress up and down the squall line, and a new tornado warning may be needed for Kankakee County. So as many as 10 active tornadoes on the ground right now within this squall line up and down from northern Cook County all the way down towards Joliet. That's what we're seeing right now with this incredibly intense line of thunderstorms that's blowing through the area. Phil, I know you're out of retirement this evening to help us out this evening. Have you ever seen anything like this in your decades of work here in weather?
You know, I've been here 29, nearly 30 years, and the short answer is absolutely not. Not this many tornadoes, not at this at this rate where you get one, you get another, you get another. And this is the area east of New Lenox, right in here, now getting close to 45 and moving into the Frankfurt area. This is where we've seen some rotation and some very powerful winds. This is likely either some rotation right here near Frankfurt or winds possibly 80 to 90 miles per hour. You go up towards O'Hare. This is where we're seeing the rotation, just to the east of Bensonville, getting very close to O'Hare. O'Hare's right about there. There you see the I-190 extension. So this is heading just north of Grand Avenue there, just past Bensonville, and heading right towards the airport, at least the south end of the airport. That's the rotation, probably back in here, but that's from a minute ago. So you get the idea. We go farther to the south, south of Orland Park here, heading towards Orland Hills. Look at these colors showing up. Velocity 82 miles per hour. This is going to produce some very damaging winds. Get ready south end of Orland Park into Orland Hills. Very unusual situation. You get these big lines of storms and you can get these brief spin-offs, but you never see this many. And that's what's going on tonight. Tornado warnings anywhere from the northern end of Cook County all the way down through Will County and down into Kankakee County. We're talking about a distance probably over 100 miles per hour, 100 miles. I've never seen that. And we have tornado warnings now in effect for Lake County because we're seeing so many spin-ups, so many tornadoes along this line. They spin up, they touch down, they stay on the ground for 5-10 minutes, and then we get another spin-up somewhere else as that one falls apart, and another spin-up. So we do have a shot from O'Hare. Let's take a look at that, and we can see.
Look at that.
Wow. I'm just trying to see if we can see any rotation. I mean, you can see kind of a shelf cloud there.
Yeah.
But I'm not really seeing any kind of rotation.
Too, because I believe another spotter is reporting a tornado on the ground by Midway as well.
Another tornado
we
by
have
Midway.
2 airports right now getting the possibility of confirmed tornado.
Wow, and Midway had a tornado actually touch down last night that then traveled towards Bronzeville. So,
Yeah,
you know,
F0 last night.
and you know, the amazing thing about this line is you might not get a tornado, and swear that you did, because you might get a wind gust of 80 to 90 miles per hour. It's going to be moving through the downtown area here very shortly. Now is not the time to go out and take a look at it because you can get these dangerous spin-up tornadoes at just about any time.
And you look at this picture here from O'Hare, and what we're watching is, and this is what the spotters do, when they have flashes of lightning, you look for the lower cloud base to see, oh, there's a power flash. Did you see the power flash on the right-hand side of your screen?
Yep, that was definitely got hit something.
So that is an indication that there's some A, very high winds, or B, a tornado in that area. When you see power flashes, that means there's arcing on the power lines, either power lines knocked down or tree branches hitting power lines and creating the arc that we see in the distance on the horizon. And it looks like the storm is almost to O'Hare. It's getting closer. I'm sure they've been in a ground stop and evacuated the tarmacs and obviously put everybody into the safe shelters that you see when you're at the airport, the restrooms where they have the signs up as a safe shelter. They've probably brought everybody into those safe spots at the airports, both Midway and O'Hare, because it's incredible. We got 2 potential tornadoes at our airports at the same time, which is really remarkable. But you're right, Cheryl, Phil, we're not seeing anything down at the ground at the moment, Cheryl.
No, not from that view, but very ominous. And you're right, ground stop, no planes taking off right now. Everyone, I'm sure, getting alert. And what's great, of course, is that they have those designated areas.
Okay, Cheryl, confirmed tornado about to cross Harlem west of Midway Airport.
Okay, let's go to Midway right now. I was just looking at that, and you can see, here's Midway, zooming in right now. We have Midway on the map. Larry is pulling up velocity for us. Here is that leading edge. There's West 65th Street. There's Archer Avenue. Midway just about to get in on this. So the tornado being reported is just off to the west of the immediate airport at this point in time. It's going to cross over. We are getting reports of this about to cross Harlem right now, just west of the Midway Airport. So anyone in this region currently, you need to be in your safe place. We have West Archer Ave, we have Summit, West 63rd Street, West 65th Street, Stickney just up to the north as well. And then moving off to the east just a little bit, if you're to the east of Midway, you need to get into your safe place. Here's 50, Hometown just off to the south here. There's I-55 Englewood. This is a highly populated area from Chicago, the city, from Midway up to O'Hare. Anyone in this region right now, the possibility of tornadoes in this region is ongoing. We have several confirmed tornadoes on the ground at this point in time. So right now, Summit to Burbank, right along I-55 in this region. Let me take off our radar and the warnings, because Larry, I just want to go in here and show this region.
This is coming up on Central right now. Yeah, this is coming up on Central and eventually over towards Cicero. Right here is the airport. You can see it on the map. And so the leading edge where we're getting the rotation and the potential tornado, and well, confirmed tornado for that matter, is getting pretty close to the airport as we speak, almost over top of you. So Cheryl, go ahead with some of those street roads.
Yes, and pardon me, I'm zooming in because my eyesight as well, but here we go, zooming in. We do have Narragansett Avenue in this area, so this is basically between West 57th Street to West 59th here, just to the west of the airport right now. You can see the reflectivity on the other side of the screen. We're moving a little bit farther to the east, so this is traveling closer to Austin Avenue, and there we have Central Avenue. So anyone in this region just to the immediate west of the airport right now, you need to be in your safe place. And then it's going to continue to cross to the east, racing at about 40 miles per hour in this area. East of the airport, West 59. So then we go to Pulaski Road. We have California as well, between about West 55th and West 63rd. Western Avenue.
Okay, Cheryl, I got to go back to a large tornado on the ground at O'Hare right now.
Now we're going back up to O'Hare.
Let's go to the camera right now.
Yeah.
Large tornado confirmed on the ground. Is that it on the right-hand side? Let's give it a second here.
So hard to make out here.
I believe that's moving
that
slowly.
Looks like it's
yes,
trying to spin and rotate. This could be the very large tornado on the ground at O'Hare Airport right now. Let's stay with this here. It does look like it's rotating, doesn't it? So on the right-hand side of your screen, I don't know if you could put this up behind us right now, but on the right-hand side of your screen, you see the dark cloud at the bottom of the ground covering the distance here where you cannot see the lights in the distance. That is probably the large tornado that's being reported on the ground at O'Hare Airport as we speak. So here we are at 9:45 Monday evening, and a large tornado on the ground heading right over O'Hare Airport at this moment. Let's just watch this play out. Cheryl,
yeah,
you
this
see
is
it on the
just
radar.
dangerous. I mean, I don't know if we've ever been talking about a large, potentially large, dangerous tornado on the ground at O'Hare. National Weather Service is viewing this from their webcam, and they can see that. I don't want to confirm that what we're seeing is the tornado, Larry. I'm not seeing a lot of movement of that one region, but in this area, the possibility here, yes, let's look around O'Hare, take a look at all of our live cameras that we possibly can. It is very dark and ominous. You're seeing the lightning being detected in this region.
It does look like there's something on the right-hand side that's kind of, because you can see the motion of the clouds going more
and what happens
left to
too
right
is that tornado is embedded, and you can see those clouds just swirling in that area.
Yeah.
You might not see a defined tornado, but
and it could be
right there. Look at the bottom of the screen there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right there. You see how the clouds got lighter too all of a sudden, the darkness of the clouds. So.
And looking for any debris or anything at the ground level being interrupted.
Can we drop the banner at the bottom?
Yeah. Can we drop that?
Let's get a full screen view of all this.
There we go.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, you're right, Cheryl. We're looking at the ground level for debris. That's one of the signatures, one of the things you look at as a storm spotter to see if there's any debris being picked up from the ground. Obviously, there isn't much there if it's out on the runways other than some dirt. There's no trees, obviously. Maybe it's passed on by because it doesn't look as evident as it was a few moments ago. Do you agree, Cheryl and Phil?
Yeah, you know, it's hard. It's so hard to see in that picture.
Another strong tornado likely in progress. Tornado debris signature crossing I-294 right near Crestwood being reported right now as well.
Okay, so that's a little farther south.
That's south. But
and for downstream south suburban towns, both strong tornadoes and destructive straight line winds will be possible just south of Alsip to the Will County line. So as we've been talking about up and down this line, as many as 10 tornadoes ongoing at the same time within this complex. What we're seeing right now from O'Hare, I tell you, this is more of just a storm coming in with some high winds, but for the past 5 minutes or so as we've been watching this camera, it did look like there was some motion from left to right, which was indicating some spin there, which may have been that tornado that's been spotted up by O'Hare. But regardless, if you're up around the O'Hare area, I want you in your safe shelter right now because this is a dangerous storm up at O'Hare and really up and down this line, Cheryl.
Yeah, and Elk Grove to Norwood Park, you're getting in on this right now by the O'Hare Airport, right along I-80, passing to the east now of 290. This is just a dangerous situation. Very, very heavy rain coming in with this storm. Intense downpours. Again, we were trying to take live views, see if we could see that tornado on the ground, but sometimes it is just so hard. I can say that the leading edge of this storm that was producing the tornado near O'Hare is now passing to the east of O'Hare, just to give you a sign of how quickly things are moving. Yeah. And you know, guys, when we were looking at that live stream, when National Weather Service said they had the confirmed tornado on the ground, they're moving at 40, 50 miles per hour. It would be in and out of a frame rather quickly if we weren't watching it and moving with it. But anyone in this region right now, you need to be in the lowest level of your home in a basement. So Franklin Park, Elmwood Park, you're included in this, but anyone out ahead of that leading edge as well. We're getting close to Evanston, Wrigley Field. We're getting closer to the lakefront, and when we introduce the lake into a line like this, that could also help introduce more circulation and feed in more wind shear with a line like this. So still the possibility of tornadoes dropping anywhere along this line, moving closer to the lake and the city, that is certainly possible.
Yeah, it's kind of a myth that the lake protects us from tornadoes. It does in some cases when you get a wind off the lake, but that's not the case today because the winds brought all that warm and humid air right up to the lakefront, and that continues to be the case this evening. I want to tell Allison, who's our wonderful director up in the booth right now, who's been helping us out this evening, if we get some of our sky cams here downtown pointed off towards the west, because the storms are just about ready to come into the loop as we speak, and the potential is there for some tornadoes moving into the city, the downtown area, along with some very high winds. I've been watching the radar pretty closely, and there are some notches here back over Midway, as we were talking about, near Cicero, up towards Oak Park. This is drawing closer to downtown as we speak. So keep an eye on those cameras that we have, because as this line moves into the city, we're really looking at the possibility of some very high winds and maybe even some tornadoes here in the taller buildings of the city of Chicago. So we'll keep an eye on those cameras. If you see anything back there in the control room, just put it up right away and we'll take a view of it right quickly.
And Larry, a apparent tornado right now in progress east of Manteno, headed toward Grant Park. I know that's south of the city, but just getting this in from National Weather Service. Another apparent tornado right now. It's passing to the east of Manteno. Grant Park, you are under the tornado warning currently, and that stretches down towards the Moments area as well. So the possibility here of a confirmed tornado on the ground. Safe place, shelter in place, lowest level of your home, basement if possible. And Larry, it's also a good idea to tell people, you know, sometimes to wear shoes, bring a blanket, cover yourself. You don't want to get in a situation where debris can, you know, hit you and injure you even more. So it's always good to even have a helmet in place and wear shoes, because you never know what you could be stepping out to outside as well. And don't go outside right now, but just things that people should have with them in their safe place while they're sheltering.
And the shoes are such an important thing, because if you have windows broken in your house and there's glass on the floor, you don't want to be walking through that in bare feet. Got a 75-mile-per-hour gust reported at O'Hare with the likely tornado that passed over the airport. 2 tornadoes being cited currently by Midway observers, including in the remarks from the airport. So we got 2 tornadoes near Midway Airport.
Possible tornado going in the Chicago loop. Chicago, downtown Chicago, everyone, safe place. And this is a city, this is the most populated area. Larry, we have a lot of people in buildings, we have a lot of people in high-rises, and a lot of folks ask us, what do we do when there is a tornado warning? You want to go to the lowest level, and a lot of the times, a lot of these buildings will have stairwells in the interior of the building. If you can go into a stairwell that's not surrounded by windows, that could be the best bet. You do not want to be by your building windows at this point in time. You'd want to get to the lowest level and protect yourself from the outside. I know it can get very complicated when you're under a warning in the city, so that's what we would advise people to do. If you have other tips too you want to share for folks in downtown Chicago, I believe we're getting power outages right now in the downtown Chicago area.
Yeah, and Allison, I don't know if you can swing one of our cameras in the studio out towards our State Street studio, because we'll keep an eye on that. We've got reinforced glass here in our State Street studio, so unless we get, we're going to send some of our people here that are in our State Street studio into more of an interior position here in a little bit, just to keep them away from the windows on our State Street studio, because, and hopefully these folks who are on the sidewalk get the alert too that there's potential tornado coming towards downtown. Even if there's not a tornado, we're talking winds upwards of 70 miles per hour, 75, 80 mile per hour winds that'll be funneled through the buildings here downtown, which could potentially, you know, break some glass or do some damage here to some of the areas of downtown. So as Cheryl was mentioning, if you're in a high rise right now, there's a power flash. You saw it in the distance there, just past the Willis Tower, just to the west of the loop. You need to be in that safe area. If you have a chance, get into that stairwell. On the lower levels, it'd be beneficial, it'd be a better spot to be. If you can't, get into a room in your apartment that's away from the windows and away from the walls. You want to put as much space between you and the outside as possible if you're in one of these high rises, and obviously a lower building is better off.
We have that, honestly, the velocity, the strongest velocity right now, basically very close to Grand Avenue, Jackson Boulevard.
Oh, look at that.
I have family and friends in this region right now. I just want everyone to get to the lowest level of their home, be in a safe place. This is a dangerous situation with the possibility of a tornado on the ground right now, moving through downtown Chicago and the Loop. This is so dangerous right now. So this is the area.
Eisenhower, and just north of the Eisenhower, yeah.
So right 90, this is heading right for the city, and we also have to keep ourselves safe. Keep in mind what we need to do here at the station, keep everyone safe with us here in the city as well. So please just get to that interior room on the lowest level. This is getting very close now, crossing over. This is going to be crossing over I-90 here. We have the Chicago River. We have all of our neighborhood. This is where we are standing right now. So Larry and Phil, this is something to take very seriously with reports coming in of a tornado here on the ground in the Chicago downtown area.
Yeah. Did you look at the debris signature yet, Phil? Did you see that?
I did not. I'm looking at velocity, and it's just about to the downtown area, but just to the west of downtown, right along the Kennedy Expressway is where we're seeing some of that rotation right here, and it is heading right towards the city. And we're getting
no defined debris signature, which is good news, but we can't go off of that. Sometimes we have confirmed tornadoes on the ground and we're not getting that debris signature, but something definitely we're monitoring here closely.
That velocity couplet too would be pretty much now
right over the city.
Yeah, right over the city in the North Loop right now.
Yep.
Just really hugging the river, and just on the north side of the river as well is where this circulation is. So we're looking off right up the river right now and seeing what's going on. I noticed the winds are picking up here along the river. You can see that by the trees and the flags swaying in the distance, and the skies are getting darker off in the distance as well. And so here we're looking, oh, look at the winds picking up there. We're looking at Grant Park.
Well, it's howling out here right now on State Street. Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow, we're getting at least a 60-mile-per-hour gust here. Look at that, debris is coming off.
Okay.
Okay, we have brought our people away from the windows here at our State Street studio.
Everyone's coming to the lowest level.
Everyone's going into
We're here on air with you. We're on the lowest level. We're in the safest part of the building right now, but everyone's being advised to seek shelter. So for those of everyone working behind the scenes right now, they're getting to the safe place. You have me, you have Larry, you have Phil. We're staying with you here, but all of those people working behind the scenes, getting those videos, the shots coming into you. If we don't have those for a few minutes, that's because everyone's in their safe place currently.
And also to mention, I know we're talking about downtown, 90 to 95 mile-per-hour winds being detected over South Holland, heading towards Calumet City and the Hammond, Indiana area as well. So potential tornado here in downtown, extreme winds in southern suburbs heading into northwest Indiana with winds upwards of 90 to 95 miles per hour with the storm that's coming through. So the tornado warnings continue for this entire line as the storm comes right over downtown right now. And as I show you, I don't know if you can do the split screen again, and let's keep an eye on those sky cams again as well to get a view of what's going on downtown. But up there towards Wrigley Field, as Cheryl is showing, there's still the tornado warning in effect in that zone too.
And these warnings are in effect until 10 p.m. They might be extended for a few more minutes because we still have this line to get through. The most dangerous part of the storms in terms of the wind as well as the rotation and a tornado touchdown would be on the leading edge of this system. So right now, that's where this line is. We do have the heavy rain and the intense winds that follow, but where we find the spin is typically along the leading edge of this storm system right now. So we're in the thick of it right now. Bear with us. We are here with you. We have the warnings in place still for a few more minutes. Some of these will be extended. And as Larry mentioned, we're getting so many reports coming in from around the area, the National Weather Service. We have the tornado warnings in place for southern Cook County down into northwest Indiana. You're now getting in on this line that will be pushing through your region. So you need to stay alert as this will be with you for the next 1 to 2 hours moving through parts of Lake Porter and Newton and Jasper County. But we do have the reports coming in. I know you guys are talking.
And Cheryl, just to mention too, up in the northern suburbs, Skokie, Evanston, there's signs of rotation in that area as well. No confirmed tornadoes, but as you were talking, I was just scanning the velocity data, and there are signs of rotation near Skokie and Evanston that could be producing a tornado at this point.
Evanston, you need to get to your safe place, lowest level of your home, basement. If you do not have a basement, you want to be in an interior room, a closet if possible that's in an interior room of your home, away from walls and and windows. You can see the reflectivity coming down right now. Lincolnwood, you are just getting hit so hard with the intense rains. Evanston, this is moving in as I speak. This will continue pressing farther to the east out over Lake Michigan. But right now, anyone, northern Cook County, our northern suburbs, right through the heart of downtown Chicago, stretching to the south. This is an active and dangerous situation. And I'm noticing, Larry, you're pulling up velocity. I'm seeing a lot of bright reds coming in. So that's indicative of some very strong winds. We've had winds gusty up to about
almost 100 miles per hour.
90 to 95 mile per hour rated detected wind speeds that you were just pulling up there in Calumet City and into Hammond, Indiana.
Northwest Indiana right now there are some very intense circulations that have developed. I don't know if we can, you see it there as well. The pink area that Cheryl's pointing to, those are some high winds. And then on my map here, I can show you the circulations that have developed right along that leading edge. This is a zone here from Hammond down towards Dyer, St. John, Crown Point area, right over Merrillville right now. There are very high winds within this zone, upwards of maybe 90 to 95 miles per hour.
Yep, and that continues even farther south of the warning. As you mentioned, Lowell seeing some...
And the other good news, Cheryl, the tornado warning for most of Chicago has expired. So that circulation has pushed out over the lake, as you can see there.
Amazing.
So the tornado warning for the city ended at 10 o'clock. We still have tornado warnings in effect for Northwest Indiana and stretching down into parts of Kankakee County as well. But right now, the shift of where the tornadoes are has now moved into Northwest Indiana, and what we're left with now is very heavy rain and still high winds across the city into the northern suburbs.
Yeah, so that is good news for anyone that was in the tornado warn zone in Cook County until 10 p.m. That has just expired. They're not reissuing it, and that's because the warning was for the leading edge of this line here, and that is now pushing east of the city. With that said, still high damaging winds, not out of the question, very intense rains, as well as the lightning. This is not the time to go outside, not the time to assess any damage if there is any in your neighborhood. Stay in place. We have to wait till this line completely and successfully passes on through the region and the city. Intense downpours will continue. Larry was just mentioning, here's where we have the tornado warnings issued at this point in time. We have Lake and Porter County, parts of Newton and Jasper including in this. Again, the spin-ups will be occurring along the leading edge of this. We've had, I mean, there's just been so many tornado touchdowns out of the system, so that threat will persist into the evening. I know that we had folks here in the building seeking shelter, so they're going to get back to their designated areas here in the office and bring back Larry and Phil on TV. But we can hear you guys, so feel free to chime on in, talk with me as we go through radar and give the latest updates coming in with the storms.
Okay, we got a confirmed tornado heading towards Crown Point right now, Cheryl. So until they pull us up, why don't you head to that area in southern parts of Lake County, Indiana. Tornado on the ground there, reported by the National Weather Service, headed for Crown Point. If you're in Crown Point, there it is right there. You got it right on your velocity. Yep. Crown Point, seek shelter right now. This is a confirmed tornado heading right into downtown Crown Point. I know the Jewel is just on the kind of the north side of town. That's my reference point because I've been there several times to the Jewel for volleyball tournaments in Crown Point with my daughter. That's a zone here where you need to be in that safe room and get to that safe area here. Basement, small interior room. This is a confirmed tornado on the ground that could be producing winds upwards of 100 miles per hour as it comes on through. Cheryl?
Yep, zooming on into Crown Point. This is right on top of North Avenue and South Avenue. Zooming in, it looks like we have a track, potentially a school right in this region, or some type of community facility here. There's that track. So literally this storm with the possible tornado touchdown, I believe it was confirmed, is in this area right now. It's going to be crossing over West Street. There is Crown Point. If you're in this area, you need to be lowest level of your home. We're going to move a little bit farther to the east because this will be racing at 40 miles per hour. There's North Indiana Avenue. There's Indiana Avenue. There's South Ridge Street. There's 231. If you're hearing streets in or familiar streets, or perhaps your neighbor to the east or west of you, that means you need to get to your safe place. We're going a little bit farther to the east. There's North Avenue still, and you can see what we have here. Here's Madison Street. There's Golden Oak Center. We have some sporting facilities in this region. You can see the baseball fields there, the Diamonds, and then this will be Heading farther to the east, there's 109th Avenue. We just want to shout out people that would be in the path of this storm, give you street view access here. There's Broadway. Anyone in this region, please get to your safe place. You're under this warning for a reason. We are finding velocity indicating a potential tornado touchdown, and it is still clearly evident the circulation here. So Crown Point
and Cheryl,
towards
we got
Walled View.
Debris data too on our debris radar.
Okay, let's switch over.
Right here, you see there's actually several spots where we're getting debris lofted into the air. So there's likely a number of tornadoes on the ground right now in Lake County, Indiana, up around the Merrillville area. Right here's the one that's over Crown Point, and then south of Crown Point, there are more indications that there's a tornado on the ground from the debris that we're seeing lifted into the air. So also this entire stretch, even up towards the Gary area, the initial reports here are that we're getting radar estimates from the Gary Airport terminal Doppler radar that's there of winds to 85 to 90 miles per hour coming through the Gary area. So from Gary down to Crown Point, basically this is like a fast-moving hurricane coming through that'll produce winds between 70 and 100 miles per hour up and down this line that we're seeing on the radar. And in that line, there could be some spin-up tornadoes that our radar is picking up on with these little kind of yellow little pixels that show up right over I-65 right now. These are likely debris signatures that are showing up, and Cheryl's got it on velocity data.
Yeah.
Two really distinct couplets there over Eagle Creek and then up towards
even
Winfield.
south of Winfield there with your debris signature. That's more intense, and we are seeing that couplet that just formed. So just south of Crown Point, this is southeast Grove area and Eagle Creek, right along I-65. This storm is crossing over to the east, moving at 40-45 miles per hour. This is a dangerous storm. The possibility here, we have two circulations, very clear and evident in this region, with the possibility of spawning tornadoes in this region.
And look at the notches right here on the traditional radar view. Right there's the one on the south side of your screen, or in the bottom of your screen, and there's the other one up by the Winfield area. So clearly two likely tornadoes on the ground here with this particular storm. Of course, we had the confirmation of the Crown Point one on the ground. Getting a report at 129th in Delaware and Crown Point, lots of power flashes. Train spotters can't see it, but they can hear it, is the report we're getting from the Crown Point area. Likely tornado passing east of Lowell and Lake Dale Carly right now in southern Lake County. Yep, with very strong non-tornadic winds likely ongoing as well.
So Winfield at 10:05, Boone at 10:14, Dewey at 10:36, and Hannah there at 10:44. So this is just to the east of Lowell. They're also noting that signature that we have been talking about. So possible tornado on the ground in this location, traveling to the east. Did they confirm the tornado? No, they're saying likely tornado in this area, but the possibility that a tornado can touch down at any point in time is likely. Given the history of this complex of storms having produced so many tornadoes that have been pretty much confirmed, you know, when you get these signatures that we're showing you on velocity, debris signature, and of course the radar, it's almost a certainty that there are some touchdowns within this environment that we're existing in this evening, because when we're looking at this profile of the atmosphere, the lowest couple thousand feet of the atmosphere has a lot of wind directional shift to it that's allowing these storms to rotate at the low levels and produce these tornadoes, albeit hopefully weak tornadoes, but they certainly produced a number of tornadoes as they've come through. And right now, just to highlight what's going on, the worst of the storms are now in northwest Indiana. We're cleared of any tornado warnings from the city back to the west and to the north. We still have tornado warnings in effect here for a large portion of northwest Indiana, including Porter County down into Newton and Jasper counties as well, until at least 10:45. So if you're in Valparaiso, down towards Couts, all the way down towards DeMont and down towards Rensselaer, you're under a tornado warning with this approaching line of storms. Yeah, and Larry, you're very familiar with Valparaiso in that region, and that's where that line is heading right now. So I know we're going to have a very keen eye on this region as that gets closer to Valpo in northwest Indiana. But here's the latest warnings we have for Porter County until 10:45, and then Jasper, Lake, and Newton counties until 10:45. Again, those tornado warnings have expired, I want to say, for much of northern Illinois at this time.
And it looks like it's just leftover rain and lightning, which we don't need any more rain. We've got a number of flash flood warnings too in effect for much of the area. In fact, I'll just show you those real quick because flooding is a concern across all of Cook County with a flash flood warning in effect until 12:30 in the morning. All of DuPage County, most of Will County is under a flash flood warning as well. In addition to the heavy rain we've seen this evening, the rains we've seen over the past couple of days have really led to some serious flooding problems in some locations.
Yes, and we do still have a tornado warning that remains in effect for eastern Kankakee County here. You're not in the clear yet. So once this expires, then we're just in northwest Indiana, off to the south of Kankakee as well. But still, we're feeling some impacts in this region. However, Larry, the leading edge is now passing to the east of Kankakee, so that is good news. Likely tornado now headed
towards Hebron,
towards
which
Hebron
is
area.
just east of Merrillville right now. You can see, I'll go to the map and show you, there's Gary, there's Hobart, there's Merrillville, Winfield, and you can see there are some notches in there.
Yes.
There's several different distinct notches that have showed up on the radar, and I'll just highlight them for you on the map because here's one right here. There's another one near the Winfield area. Another one possibly out over the lake, just off the shore of Gary there. All these little rotation markers that we're seeing on the radar are possible tornadoes that have popped up along this leading edge of the line of storms.
So we're pushing into Porter County now.
Yeah, just about ready to cross the county line. So Boone, Valparaiso, Burns Harbor, Chesterton, Portage, Ogden Dunes. You're in line here for this pretty intense line of storms that's moving in your direction as we speak. I see they just sent some more information. In addition to the above, at the very least, destructive winds moving over Winfield and headed towards lakes of the Four Seasons. The corridor with embedded tornado circulations and destructive straight line winds will be moving across Porter County within the next 10 to 20 minutes. So these are moving super fast. And you can see some of the wind velocity reports you're getting right there, or at least the radar detected.
Over 60 miles per hour for sure. And they've noted that we could have winds up of 70, 75, 80 miles per hour. So a lot of information coming in. We are tuned in to the National Weather Service as well, working together, getting the reports coming in. They're doing an amazing job with the storm reporters. We have a whole network of meteorologists basically working on this together at this point in time. We're getting confirmed spotters, the reports coming in from them, and then we verify that here with our radar system, with velocity and the capability we have with our equipment. But we are still finding circulation ongoing in this region. We are beginning to see the leading edge passing to the east now of Merrillville, Winfield here just to the east. We're seeing it pass to the east of I-65, but now we're going to be moving into Porter County, and that threat will be present anywhere from Chesterton down towards Valparaiso, Boone as well, and Couts. You're in that tornado warning as we speak with this line that will be moving through over the next 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah, here's the Hebron area. I've got it zoomed into that rotation that's over Hebron right now, the likely tornado heading through Hebron as we speak, up towards Boone Grove. If you're in the Boone Grove area, over towards Islesworth as well, over towards Malden, Couts. This is where this tornado is heading in your direction. There's the updated scan. So right over Hebron right now, over towards Boone, Boone Grove. This is the zone where we've got a likely tornado on the ground moving through Lake County, pushing into Porter County as we speak. We're still getting some high winds even on the western side of that circulation across Lake County as well. And we've got a number of little spin-ups likely along the leading edge of this storm. So as I zoom out, you can see up here right along the county line, right over Portage pretty much, stretching down towards Boone, down towards DeMont, and then stretching down to the south. Along that leading edge is where the tornado potential is. And then you see all these bright shades of pink back to the west, back towards Lowell, over parts of I-65 right now. Those are some high winds, gusts upwards of 60 to 75, maybe 80 mile per hour winds behind the initial leading push of stormy weather. So Cheryl, I tell you, these storms that have fired up, that right along the jagged edge here is where we get all the spin ups. And then once you get into the rain, it's a driving rain. It's just coming down torrential buckets for you with driving wind pushing that rain against your house and probably shaking the windows a little bit.
Yeah, this is one of the most intense line of storms I've witnessed here move through the Chicago area, and you can just see the reports coming in. So much wind damage reports. This is something that we're going to have to assess later this evening and into the day tomorrow, but I just want to give you an idea that there is just so much history with this line moving through, producing tornadoes, but not only that, straight line winds, gusts upwards of 70 miles per hour. We're getting reports in of 12-inch diameter trees being broken. So that's a hefty tree. It's just there's going to be a lot of damage coming out of this storm system, but we're still with a threat here in northwest Indiana for at least the next hour with these tornado reports or tornado warnings in effect, and a new one just issued out ahead there now of Porter County.
Yeah, LaPorte County, Southern Berrien County, you're now included in the new tornado warning for you. So if you're in Michigan City, LaPorte right now, you're under a tornado warning as we speak. And the good news, if we can say any good news this evening, is that right now from the city back to the west, we're warning, pretty much warning free of any tornadoes. There's still some heavy rain coming down and certainly some gusty winds, but the threat of tornadoes, if you're in the city to the west and to the north, has come to an end. Only along the leading edge of this storm complex is where there's still the possibility of tornadoes, and that's pushing into Porter County right now, Newton and Jasper counties, and then eventually into LaPorte County as we speak. This will race off towards the east and be towards LaPorte probably in the next 30 minutes, the town of LaPorte in the next 30 minutes. Michigan City probably about 15 minutes away from the initial push here of this thunderstorm complex blowing through. So we knew this was going to move fast and it was going to be a quick evening in terms of the pace of these storms, Cheryl, but I said we've been on the air for at least about 2.5 hours or so, and you can see in just those 2 hours or so, the storm swept from Rockford all the way now over towards Valparaiso.
Yep, they're moving at 40, 50 miles per hour, and I do want to say, Larry, you can verify this with me, but anyone in that Kankakee tornado warning, the worst of that storm is moving to the east. National Weather Service will likely expire that here shortly. Yeah. And then we do have the leading edge that's going to continue to barrel through here, Porter County, and then Jasper County as well. Newton, you're still getting in on very heavy rain and lightning, and then LaPorte, tornado warning issued with you. We've had over a dozen tornado warnings issued for our region this evening, and at one point in time we may have had close to half a dozen tornado touchdowns at the same time. That is just remarkable. Incredible. In terms of a storm system. And then, Larry, we're talking about O'Hare and Midway seeing tornadoes confirmed on the ground at the same time. The entire county of Cook County under the tornado warning. So it's just been a very active, also a dangerous evening in our region. We're almost getting to the backside of this line, but we're not done yet. We do have the warnings in effect here for northwest Indiana until 10:45. So for anyone in this region, we've been talking about those areas where we've been noting the circulation. That is still happening here. So it's still moving to the east now of Boone. Counts out ahead of this: Malden, Hannah, Dewey, 421 if you're in this region, and then moving off to the east there, you can see it would be moving into LaPorte County there from Kankakee down towards the Knox area, but still finding that spin and these signatures. So Valparaiso, you're on the leading edge of this system right now. It's moving in, and there is some sign here of some circulation in this region. So if you're in this area, we need you in your safe place, because at any point in time, a spin-up tornado possible, and some of these tornadoes could potentially be strong. And the winds with this system are very strong. Yeah, and the circulations that we're pointing out, there's a couple of them getting close to Valparaiso right now. One south of town and one right along US 30 right now. I'm going to point those out for you on the map. If you're down towards the Aberdeen Golf Course area, that's near Boone Grove and Malden, and down towards Porter Crossroads in this general area, that's another spot where we're seeing some circulation on the radar, which could potentially be a tornado. Right in this zone right here, there's a circulation. And then also right over US 30, just west of downtown Valparaiso and west of the university, there's circulation right in this general area as well that's showing up, that's getting closer to the downtown area. The university, I went to Valparaiso University. It sits on the east side of town out by the airport. That's where this circulation is probably going to get pretty close to downtown, at least this northern circulation, as we go through the next really couple of minutes. So if you're not in your safe room right now in Valparaiso, you need to be there. Same if you're south of Valparaiso right now as this storm comes on by. Really a dangerous storm that has a history of producing a number of tornadoes and certainly some high winds. And then looking farther to the south, down towards the DeMont area, the Couts area, still some circulations being detected on the leading edge of this storm as well. Another one here just north of Iroquois and east rather of Beaver. Another circulation being picked up by the velocity data. So up and down this line, just like we saw when it came through the city and the northern parts of Illinois, there are a number of little spin-up tornadoes ongoing along this cluster of storms that's marching its way through northwest Indiana. And going back to the radar presentation,
I tell you, when we have a line of storms coming through, we hate to see a big line of storms like this, but when it's so jagged along the front edge of a storm complex like this, it really leads to those possibility of spin-up tornadoes. And Cheryl, I know you got the map there showing Valparaiso, and if you want to go through some of the streets there where the circulation is going to be right over top of in the next couple of moments.
Yeah, just giving, I mean, this is now really getting to be on top of Valparaiso. It was knocking at your door. It is now here, West Hill towards Valparaiso. This is where we are noting some velocity signature rotation on our map. So I just want to take off the red color where we were detecting the spin in the atmosphere. So as we zoom on in here, Westville over towards Valparaiso, we have Morgan Boulevard, we have Evans Avenue, we have Garfield Avenue. As we move a little bit farther to the east, as the storm will be pushing to the east, you can see we cross over Roosevelt Road here. We have Beach Street stretching up towards Glendale Boulevard, and then we would be crossing over Silhavy Road, pardon my pronunciation. As we continue to move farther to the east, we have Evans Avenue and a lot of and then we get into more rural land, but over the next about a mile, we do have a lot of infrastructure, the buildings here, Valparaiso. This will be crossing over your region right now, so everyone under that warning, stay in your safe place. Right now we do have
just to add to that real quick, we're going to go to the anchors in a second, but getting reports the possibility of 70+ miles per hour heading over downtown Valparaiso. So really from downtown on the north side of the city is where the high winds look to be coming through, with a rotational signature headed right through Valparaiso, with a possible tornado being picked up by the radar right over Valparaiso right now. So Valparaiso looks like there's the possibility of a tornado right over top of you as we speak. So I hope you're in your safe shelter, as we were talking about, but the Weather Service is saying that in addition to the possibility of winds to 70 miles per hour, there could be a tornado right over top of Valparaiso right now, which is now moving off towards the east and slightly to the northeast. So anywhere from Valparaiso into the eastern parts of Porter County, you need to be in that safe area and let this storm pass on by. The highest winds may pass just north of the airport. And let me zoom in closer here, and I'll show you. Right there is 49, this north-south line here that kind of sits on the east side of town. The airport is right in this general area on the other side of 49. Valparaiso University is pretty much in this zone right here. And so the core of this circulation is going to be moving over downtown and potentially on the north side. Anywhere in really Valparaiso, you need to be in your safe room, but by detecting what we're seeing on the radar, this is where this potential tornado is located, moving right over downtown now, moving quickly off towards the east. So this may get close to the new hospital up here as well as it moves through Valparaiso, but anywhere in Valparaiso, you need to be in that safe room and let this storm pass on by as it comes through with high winds and a potential tornado. Cheryl, I was looking at the debris signatures a second ago. Not clearly evident. There may be a little debris being lofted up, but doesn't look like it did earlier when the storm was back to the west. And
just still finding that spin, though, with velocity, so something we really want to closely monitor. But this goes for anyone from Campbell Street over Valparaiso, the city itself, Roosevelt Road, and then there's University Drive just off to the south of where we're finding that center of the circulation. There's Beach Street, and then we'd be crossing over farther to the east, right along Evans Avenue there. So there you can see those high reflectivity values about to cross over Valparaiso at this point in time. So winds in excess of 50 miles per hour likely with this line that is moving through. So still dangerous line of storms. We still do have the warnings, and we also want to mention we do have a flash flood warning in effect for a large area as well here in northern Illinois once the heavy rains pass off to the east, leaving us with the potential of flash flooding in some of our region as well. So that's still the aftermath with the rain coming down. We can't rule out the potential of some flooding in our area. So still a lot to monitor here as we go through the evening, but that will remain in effect for Cook, DuPage, and Will County until 12:30. But there's that intense line. It is now east of the lakefront, moving over Lake Michigan. What we have left is the strong storms pushing through northwest Indiana at this point in time, with the tornado warning still on the map until at least 10:45, Larry. Yeah, tornado warnings just now in effect for northwest Indiana. You can see the red outlined areas, and severe thunderstorm warnings are the yellow shaded areas. So all the warnings from Kankakee to the city and back to the west have been cleared. At least severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings. As Cheryl was showing you, we still have flash flood warnings in place, and there's still rain coming down across northern Illinois, but the most intense portions of the storms have now
now moved off towards the east. In fact, these tornado warnings will continue for another 15 to 20 minutes or so for Porter County until 10:45. LaPorte County, you're under the tornado warning until 11 o'clock this evening if you're in LaPorte County as well. And then down towards Newton and Jasper County, we got a tornado warning here in effect. Let me pop it up till 10:45, and a new tornado warning issued for the Winnemac area, Pulaski County, until 11 o'clock, and parts of White County as well until 11 o'clock in the evening. So still a number of warnings for at least another 30 minutes or so for parts of northwest Indiana. But again, these storms have moved rather rapidly off towards the east, and they'll be blowing through parts of LaPorte County down into Stark County as well here very quickly as they move off towards the east.
And Larry, we're getting updates, a power surge happening in Valpo right now. Also just evident of a rotational signature still in the Valparaiso area, so a possible tornado on the ground. Currently getting reports of damage coming in from that area.
Yeah. Let's go back to the radar too, because you've got the velocity data pulled up and there's still some really high winds with those brighter shades of pink. I've got the radar reflectivity mode in the map here, and you can see there's still a pretty good notch right along US 30.
I just clocked 72 miles per hour, and that's just radar indicated. That means winds could be anywhere between about 70 to 85 miles per hour right now, just barreling through this area. So not surprised to see power surges and power outages that will be coming with this.
Yeah, and the circulation that was over Valparaiso is now pushed off towards the east, and it looks like a new one's trying to develop here pretty close to Wanata, just along US 30 here. Another circulation trying to develop. This will be moving towards the Wanata area, so if you're in New Durham and down towards Wanata, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. But Cheryl was showing those winds over Valparaiso right now. That's when you're in the rain portion of this storm. At the leading edge, you get the wind, you get the rain to start, and then while you get that driving rain to last a good 30 minutes or so once the storm hits you. And there's a lot of wind. I tell you, look at that. Look at that
it's not just Valparaiso, it's all of Porter County.
Up and down,
and all the way stretching into Jasper as well. So intense winds coming in this region. So also this could be indicative of this transitioning to a straight line wind event in this region for some, with winds in excess of 70 miles per hour. So a dangerous storm system still barreling through this area. And then with the straight line winds, with the nature of the leading edge, and also Larry, this is bowing out a bit, and you just as you track this, you can even draw a little bow with the storm. So what happens is we get those intense winds. When we see that bowing with a storm system, that is telling us that we are seeing very strong winds being translated from the upper levels of the atmosphere down to the surface, and that's just allowing that storm to power through, and it's racing to the south and east. So really not surprised that this is all coming to fruition, where we're seeing very high winds in this region and the bowing with that segment. So there might be a little transition here to some just very strong damaging winds coming out of this line.
Yeah, and here's the track on this too, reaching LaPorte at about 10:39 out towards the Plymouth area around midnight or so. You can see this is moving rapidly at about 45 miles per hour off to the east. And if you're curious, Cheryl and I've got mine on my iPad here. We're getting information from the National Weather Service and from spotters that are out there in the field. And so when we get this information, we relay it on to you as fast as we can when we have confirmation of either a tornado on the ground, wind gust, anything along those lines. We pass that along to you as soon as we get it from the National Weather Service, and they're pretty good about updating us rather quickly. And of course, our folks out in the field, our people that we have out and about, send us information as well. And I know Rob and Cheryl over at the news desk right now gathering information for us throughout the course of the evening on some of the damage that we've seen across the area as well. So we'll get it over to you, Rob and Cheryl, for a brief moment, and then we'll come back and look at the radar again.
Yeah, I know you're keeping an eye on some of the storms there in northwest Indiana. It was quick and moved through a lot of confirmed tornadoes, and we've got our crews, as you mentioned, out in trying to assess now the damage that is to come.
I know the past 2 hours they've been doing a great job. We want to say thank you to Phil and Larry and Cheryl, keeping us abreast, telling us to get to our safe spaces. Even down here on State Street, we had to run and get to our safe spaces as it was coming down hard. We talked to the Chicago Fire Department saying porch collapses. They've been responding to that. ComEd reporting 200,000 customers at this hour. Several of them, my family members, have been texting in the dark in the south suburbs.
Heeding the warnings to get to your safe spot. We're mostly out of the woods, although northwest Indiana is still dealing with some of the storms, as you just saw. Eric Hong has been out in the field for us most of the night. We want to check back in with him. He's near Sugar Grove. There's a bit of a delay from Eric, but Eric, we just want to get the latest from you right now.
Yeah, Rob and Cheryl, we've been here in the far western suburbs for pretty much the entire evening. We're in Sugar Grove right now at 47 and Galena Boulevard, that intersection. If you're familiar with this area, and what we're looking at right now is police have blocked off this major intersection here in town because of what we believe is a traffic light that is down and in traffic right now. It's hard to get a sense of the damage in this area. I can tell you that according to ComEd, we've got perhaps 2,000 or more power customers just in this vicinity of Sugar Grove and North Aurora area that are without electricity at this hour. We've been driving around this area trying to get a sense of the damage. We've seen small tree branches down, but multiple subdivisions plunged in darkness, no electricity at all in this area. We talked to a police officer perhaps within the last half hour or so who said that the police department here has been responding, authorities have been responding for the better part of the last 2.5 hours, just call after call after call for storm impact. But at this point, because it's so dark, it's hard for us to get a sense of what we're seeing out here. We're coming to you live from inside Storm Tracker because we are still getting quite a bit of lightning out there. Still a very active situation despite the fact that the weather, the worst of the weather has blown through here. Apologize for the quality of this shot. We are still getting quite a bit of rain out here, so that's obscuring our lens. And so despite the fact that the worst of this storm has passed, it's still kind of an active situation out here. Word to the wise, if you are in this area, you're wanting to go out to assess damage, be very careful because, as I said, we've got power outages. It is dark out here, and we do have a very active lightning situation that's still out here. But I can tell you we were out prior to being here in Sugar Grove in the DeKalb area. We were there as the tornado warnings were sounding and tornado sirens were sounding. It seems like the damage in DeKalb is at a minimum, but here in Sugar Grove we're trying to assess. Back to you.
All right, Eric, it has been quite a light show in the sky all throughout Illinois tonight. Well, the system, of course, sparking several tornadoes, as Cheryl and Phil and Larry were talking about. Severe thunderstorm warnings across our area. You're looking right now at video that was likely a tornado that passed over O'Hare Airport tonight. It's very dark to see, but you could see some of the rotation to the right of your screen, and I've been following people on social media who said they were actually on airplanes when the captains told them that they were told from the tower to evacuate the tower during what could have been a tornado. Also, they talked about the plane shaking left to right on the runway as this was passing through O'Hare. We've also seen some photos showing these storms out west. This is from DeKalb County earlier tonight. Incredible video from these powerful storms, heavy rain. We saw it right here outside our State Street studios, and down power lines, which the Chicago Fire Department have responded to lots of that, and trees down tonight all evening. This is video showing you also high winds and heavy rain in Aurora earlier tonight. And this, now let's take a look at some video in Oswego, where it reported touchdown of a tornado happened there all night. At last confirmed, Larry and Cheryl and Phil said that there had been 10 tornadoes that perhaps touched down. You see some downed trees, and the heavy rain was pounding through the streets. One of our employees out in Oswego shared this video right here that you're looking at downed trees. You can see it in the pictures where the tree has snapped, leaving only the stump right there on the ground. Some powerful storms tonight.
Had been some rain here downtown. Saw some people running, racing to find shelter outside the State Street studio during those downpours. Drivers also dealing with the fast-moving rain. The Chicago Fire Department's actively tweeting, if you're on social media, urging people to stay away from down power lines. Eric had mentioned a little bit about this, but people need to be really careful because those down power lines could still be active and arcing. It's a really dangerous situation. As you mentioned, more than 200,000 people without power tonight from ComEd. Likely going to get worse as we start to assess the damage. Our meteorologists Cheryl and Larry staying with us tonight. Want to get an update from them. Cheryl, you're taking a look at Northwest Indiana.
Yep.
Hopefully this has moved through. They were fast-moving storms, guys, and let's just get them out of here.
Yeah, fast-moving storms, but winds reported upwards of 70, 75 miles per hour in Valparaiso. We're getting a lot of damage in this region, trees down as well. We are seeing the most intense line now pass to the east here of Porter County. That tornado warning expiring for your region. That is great news. It is now to the east in effect for LaPorte County, and we still have a sliver here of Jasper County and this will remain in effect until 10:45. So we are beginning to see this coming to an end across our region. We're not completely out of the woods yet for those of you in northwest Indiana, and this does include the Rensselaer area. So you remain under this tornado warning here east of I-65 until at least 10:45. Very intense rain, the strong wind with the storm as well. We've been noting velocity signatures coming back with wind, showing us that, as I turn this on right now, noting very high winds in this area. Likely upwards of 70 miles per hour. So still very intense storms moving through this region. So we're talking Barkley, Rensselaer, and then this will be getting close and crossing over towards White Post and Winnemac just off to the east here. So very intense winds happening with this storm. Likely again when I'm seeing this bright red pop up on the screen, that's showing me that we're finding winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour. That is the case in this area. So down trees, power outages. I'm monitoring the chat. If you see me looking to the left here, this is where I do have my computer, where I have the chat room open with the National Weather Service, where we're seeing the storm spotter reports coming in. So that's why I keep glancing down this way if you were wondering what's happening over there. Monitoring everything all at once, and then radar and computer with us. So we're doing this all on the fly in real time with you. Tornado warnings almost expired for our area, but Larry, we still do have that one in effect here for northwest Indiana, for Porter County, or Jasper County. My apologies here until 10:45.
Yeah, LaPorte County and these counties shaded in red here. Stark County down into parts of Jasper County as well. We got the tornado warnings in place, and then still severe thunderstorm warnings for Lake and Porter counties. Excuse me, although the worst of the storms are starting to push off towards the east. In fact, when you look at this radar here, if you're in Lake County, Indiana, the worst of the storms are gone. You still have some rain coming down, but you're not getting the intense rain or storms and wind like you had just a few moments ago. Right now, right over LaPorte, down to the south, is where we've got the core of this storm moving through. And you can see how fast it's moving. This is just a 1-hour loop of the radar. Look how quickly it raced from the city, now heading almost to South Bend here in about an hour's time. So these are rapidly moving off towards the east, and a new tornado warning for the South Bend and Plymouth area as well for that storm that's moving off towards the east. So looking at the circulations, I have been noting here around Michigan City, there could be a brief tornado spinning up here right along the lakefront in Michigan City. So if you're in that area, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. Same in LaPorte. There could be another circulation developing here between New Durham and LaPorte that could produce a tornado down towards Kingsford's Height, Hannah, down towards Knox. If you're in this area, seek shelter now if you're not already in that safe spot, and let this storm pass on by, because there are still these little notches that are showing up in the velocity data, which tells us the possibility is there for some tornadoes to spin up. And the same can be said farther to the south, now to the east of Rensselaer, down towards White Post, and then stretching back towards the Knox area. Still the possibility of some spin up tornadoes in this zone, and obviously some very high winds where you get the brighter shades of pink from DeMont to St. Pierre over towards Rensselaer. Winds likely gusting upwards of 60 to 70 miles per hour in that zone. So here's the broader view, and look at this complex of storms from the southern tip of Lake Michigan all the way down into central Illinois. And this will continue to barrel off towards the east, producing severe weather for the rest of the night for parts of Indiana, even towards Ohio, and downstate Illinois will have more severe weather as we go through the night. So far, we've had a number of storm reports, mainly high winds and some damage reports as well. We're going to get a lot more of them as we go through the night tonight and during the day tomorrow as these storms come on through. But the good news
here, Larry, I want to mention what you're saying, the storm reports, there's going to be crews working overnight, and our morning team will be in here early, and we're going to start tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. because there's just going to be so much information coming out of this storm system. Once that sun rises tomorrow, it's going to shed light on the strong line of storms that move through and the damage that it left behind.
Yeah, and the update here on the warning for Gary, you're now out of the severe thunderstorm warning. Merrillville, you're out of the severe thunderstorm warning. St. John as well. So the storms are clearing off to the east, but we still have the tornado warning for LaPorte County, and as you're seeing there on Cheryl's map, Jasper County until 10:45. So just a few more minutes with the tornado warnings in our immediate area, then they'll be pushing off to the east.
And that is great news. Thankfully, this storm system did move through rather quickly, but it definitely left its mark. We do have some flash flood warnings that remain in effect until midnight or 12:30. With the storms moving so quickly, though, the good news is that if there was ponding on area roads or flash flooding, or you're seeing or dealing with any water issues, the heaviest of the rain is now pushing off to the east. So we are giving it some time to let some water recede in and around northern Illinois, and then that will be ongoing in northwest Indiana. We didn't have too much of a training rain effect. However, the rain rates within some of these storms and the line coming down 1 to 2 inches per hour, and we have just been in such a mode of severe active weather. I noted this 2.5 hours ago. Over the past 48 hours, we've had about 5 clusters of storms roll through our area, almost of this intensity, this being the strongest. What we can say is that this will be the last for the week. This pushes on through. We're going to see a weather pattern change that's going to open the door to more cooler, refreshing summer air, and we're not going to see the active severe storms moving through like we have. But just really impressive. 48 hours, 5 bow echo segments pushing through northern Illinois and northwest Indiana. We've been in and out of the intense rains. The ground is so saturated, so definitely still the possibility of some flooding into the night. So getting the very latest, we still do have that 1 tornado warning here. That's for Jasper County. Again, the leading edge, though, is now passing to the east of your area, so we're just now in basically the last couple of minutes for that tornado threat, and then it's going to end as this line races east. Larry, you have rainfall amounts coming in.
And it was kind of hit and miss with the heaviest rainfall. Waukegan, where we had earlier thunderstorms before the main line got here, got over 2 inches of rain. And a pocket out here in the western suburbs picked up well over 1 inch of rain. But as Cheryl was mentioning, they were relatively fast moving. So officially at Midway, I think this is a little suspect because it certainly rained pretty hard at Midway. So they probably got more than 1/100 of an inch of rain. But these are reports that come in from the official reporting sites. They're automated sensors that send in these rainfall totals. So they can be a little off. And so sometimes they'll get readjusted as we go through the course of the evening. But in terms of flash flood warnings, we still have a flash flood warning until 12:30 for all of Cook, DuPage, and most of Will County because of the heavy rain that's caused the typical flooding that we often get. The viaducts, some of the low-lying spots have filled up with water, some ponding on the roadways, even on the highways. That has kind of gone down a little bit, but there's still issues with that across the area as these storms are still producing rain right over top of us, and still some lightning strikes as well. But the back edge of the rain is now moving through Rockford, getting close to DeKalb. So it will come to an end in the next couple of hours, at least the rainfall. And the severe weather has ended for all of northern Illinois, and it's over for Lake County, Indiana. Most of Porter County, you're now out of the clear in terms of severe weather. You're still technically under a severe thunderstorm warning, but the worst of the storms have pushed off towards the east. And as Cheryl was mentioning, we've got the Jasper County tornado warning until 10:45. And then we also have the LaPorte County tornado warning in effect as well. That's in effect, and let me pull up the exact time, until 11 o'clock here for LaPorte County. So still a tornado warning for parts of Berrien, LaPorte, and St. Joseph counties until 11 o'clock. So a couple of storms still possibly producing tornadoes here as they're coming through parts of northwest Indiana. But the good news is that the worst of the storms have moved away from the city, and we're still tracking this really intense line of storms as it makes its way down towards the south and east. And just to show you here real quick, let me show you the larger view of the radar, because this is a massive line of storms that raced from Iowa clear down to the south. Look at that. Look at that line. Up and down this entire line. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings with it, and this is what will likely be classified as a derecho, like the one we saw back in 2020. Remember that one, August of 2020, that blew through Iowa and caused really significant damage and did damage in our area. This may be similar to that one in terms of the scope and the impact it has. It's going to race through Indiana, move into Ohio before it eventually dies out tomorrow morning, but you can see the worst of it is moving away from us. Cheryl?
Yeah, and I just wanted to talk to you about, some people at home might be questioning why are we seeing round after storm. Now, I have satellite and radar sped up really quickly here, but this is over the past 48 hours, and you can just see that northern Illinois and northwest Indiana in that zone just getting hit again and again. A storm cluster would form up to the north, hit us, move off to the south and east, and then the next 12 to 24 hours another one would form. Well, Larry, we're on the edge basically of a high pressure dome just off to the west of us, so basically the steering pattern in the upper levels of of the atmosphere, those storms basically forming on that boundary, and really that lined up with the upper Midwest where those storms started to fire, and then they just traveled along the pattern of those upper level winds in the atmosphere and basically starting up to the north and then feeding off of all of the warm energy that we had in place, the heat, the humidity. It's been so hot, it's been so humid and muggy. So once these storms fire, they can just go and basically ride with the atmosphere and the environment and continue their way off to the south and east. But Larry, this is the most intense of those segments that have moved on through since the weekend. So just a really impressive pattern that set up, and unfortunately keeping us very busy and active in the weather department, but happy to report that this will be the last of the severe segments to move on through, because we're going to have that front push through and help clear things out across the area.
Yeah, we got some cooler weather coming. Not so much tomorrow. It's still going to be kind of warm tomorrow, but it'll be less humid. And by the time we get to Wednesday, we're talking highs right around 80 degrees and very comfortable air. But here's just the temperature profile across the region, because the heat is still down to our south, but we've got this carved out section where it's allowed the cooler air to push down from the north thanks to that cold front. And that's one of the reasons why these storms were more intense than what we had the past couple of nights, because we had a transition in air masses this evening from some cooler air coming down from the north and eventually some less humid air spilling in tomorrow. And that transition from the extremely soupy, hot, moist air we had today to more of a comfortable pattern later this week, oftentimes this time of year comes with some very violent weather like we just had push through the area here this evening. We're getting a lot of reports of power outages, trees down, high winds still gusting across northwest Indiana. I know, Cheryl and Rob, you mentioned how many people are without power according to ComEd?
200,000.
200,000.
Yes,
that number is likely to go up.
Yeah, that was about 40 minutes ago was the update, 212,000+.
Yeah. And the other things that are remarkable about tonight is during our coverage, there were potentially 2 tornadoes on the ground at the same time, one at O'Hare and one near O'Hare and one near Midway as well. Have you gotten any reports of any damage from those tornadoes coming into the newsroom yet?
I mean, there's plenty of trees down in Chicago and various areas. Eric's out in Sugar Grove, obviously, but they're limited in their movements, Larry, because of the down lines.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, that I-55 is shut down due to debris and power lines between Shanahan and Lorenzo, Illinois. So this area of I-55 getting a report that this is now shut down because of debris and downed trees and power lines in this area. So also, you don't want to be traveling in any of this, and certainly if you encounter an area with any down power lines, you need to turn around, and if anything's marked closed off, you don't want to travel through, especially flooded roadways as well. So we're going to continue to see just some of these reports coming in now that the intense line is moving out, and I am happy to say right now at 10:45, our last tornado warning of the evening for our immediate viewing area has expired. So northwest Indiana, which includes Lake Porter, Newton, and Jasper, northern Illinois, we are tornado free. The severe storm event is ending here in our region with those storms moving off to the south and east, and it has just been a remarkable evening here in the world of weather between Larry, Phil, and myself. I'm not sure any of us have seen this many tornado warnings at one time issued on our map, especially with the confirmations of tornadoes on the ground. So truly just remarkable. We hope everyone at home is safe, staying in their safe place, but we can just take that deep breath now and know that these storms are moving out and away from us, and crews are going to be working so hard and through the evening hours and into tomorrow, assessing the areas of damage and helping anyone in need at this point in time. Larry was saying that this is reminiscent almost of that event that happened back in August of 2020. This event spawning more tornadoes. However, that event did spawn an EF3 tornado. Hoping we do not get a confirmation of an EF3 tornado that touched down. It did appear that some of the circulations were a bit weaker than that type of a tornado, but still a lot to fine tune and go through as we go into the evening and tomorrow. National Weather Service has been working so hard this evening with everyone, the reports coming in, the train spotters out there, the warnings that have been issued, keeping everyone safe, and the busy work going out and assessing the damage will happen over the next 24 to 48 hours. And Larry, I almost feel for them because there's going to be so much ground to cover. I don't know how it's going to be possible to find all of the tornado touchdowns and bring that report, but I know they're going to do it because they're just amazing. It's just going to take a good amount of time.
Yeah, it'll take several days before we get an official count, and even maybe a week or more before we get the total number of tornadoes from tonight, considering how many there were and the possibility of such extensive damage across the area, be it trees, power lines, and hopefully so far we haven't got any reports of any structures damage.
Right, that is such a good sign.
Let's hope that's the case. Yes, definitely hope that's the case, but we don't know yet. Obviously, it's been dark when these storms hit, so we don't have great visuals of a lot of the stuff that's going on out there. We're getting just some initial reports of a lot of power lines and trees down from these storms. But this is a 4-hour radar loop of the storms, and up and down this line of storms that marched its way through, almost the entire way we had tornado warnings in place, and at one point we had a large tornado warning from the northern parts of Cook County clear down to the south of Joliet. It was a massive box that was outlined as a tornado warning, which is something that you don't see hardly ever that large of a tornado warning, because oftentimes when we have tornadoes, they're more of the supercell nature where it's just one specific storm. But up and down this entire line, right along the leading edge, there were so many spin-up tornadoes that had developed that at one point the Weather Service was saying there's potentially 10 tornadoes on the ground at the same time along that leading edge of storms as it came on through. And Cheryl's got the velocity data. That's another way to depict the high winds that came through with this line.
Yeah, I mean, just remarkable seeing all of the inflow notches, and just so typical of a storm system like this. Well, rare what we're seeing tonight, but what happens when we get a bowing segment to move on through the area, a very strong complex of storms like this, it is somewhat normal to find those spin-up circulations along the leading edge. It was just kind of remarkable and almost rare to see how many circulations were ongoing at the same time. So something that we really look closely at is that velocity that we've been monitoring all night, and getting those also tornado debris signatures coming in as well to help us verify what's happening out there. We're going to toss it to the anchors right now. I know you guys have a lot of information coming in as well.
And Cheryl and Larry, you were talking about tornadoes being confirmed at both Midway and O'Hare airports tonight. I saw video and pictures of masses of people down underground between the B and C terminal. People were told they had to go down to a safe space. We've also been getting reports from the Chicago Fire Department that they have been responding to emergency where there have been lots of porch collapse. So there is damage tonight. Of course, the daylight will show us everything.
That's when we'll really get a look at what we can't see tonight when it's dark, and I'm glad you brought that up. We're going to go back to Eric Hong, who's in Sugar Grove driving in Storm Tracker. It's hard to see out there, obviously, Eric, but just want to check back in with you and see what you're seeing.
Yeah, Rob and Cheryl, still a very active situation weather-wise as well. Still quite a bit of rain, and we're seeing still quite a bit of lightning out here as well. Given the fact that the worst of this storm has passed, this is still a pretty active situation out here. Right now we're on I-88 eastbound. We're going to exit Orchard Road, and this is the vicinity north of Sugar Grove where we had one of the early tornado confirmations in this very active night around in the 8 o'clock hour. And we've been driving around in this area, North Aurora, Sugar Grove, for the better part of the last hour or two, just trying to get a sense of the damage that we're seeing. We are seeing a fair amount of just power outages, subdivisions plunged in darkness, no electricity anywhere, and according to the ComEd outage map, we're seeing hundreds, if not thousands, of power customers in this vicinity without electricity. But we're not seeing very large trees down. We're not seeing any kind of home damage. But again, it is very dark out here, and so it's difficult to get a sense of the storm impact in this area. But earlier we were at Route 47 in Galena in Sugar Grove, if you're familiar with that area, and we were told that particular intersection was blocked off because of power lines down on Galena Boulevard, and that would sort of be indicative of the mass power outages we're seeing in that vicinity. And again, as we were driving around Sugar Grove, just entire subdivisions plunged in darkness. It's going to be the type of situation, I think, that until we have first light, we're not going to have a sense, at least in this part of the far western suburbs, we're not going to get a sense of what kind of damage we're seeing. But that is the situation right now. As I mentioned, we're headed eastbound right now on I-88, trying to maybe perhaps exit Orchard Road, where we had one of the earlier tornado confirmations in this evening, and try to get a little bit closer look to see what we can see out there at this time. Back to you now.
Yeah, Eric, we just saw the highway sign there for Aurora. The next 3 three exits as you go east there on 88, and then you get into some other exits for Naperville and some of those locations in the west and southwest suburbs where we've seen some tornadoes.
It's very dangerous out there for the crews driving in the dark. A lot of people are in the dark tonight. Thank goodness it's not 95 degrees earlier today. The heat indices were reaching triple digits, and because people are losing air conditioning tonight,
this storm cooled it down.
Right, did cool it down a bit.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
200,000 plus people tonight without, you know, electricity, and it's just very scary out there. So all the crews, be safe out there. Be careful because they're down power lines and down trees, and there's standing water, and you might not see it because the you know, the lights, the street lights are out. So let's
look at we haven't seen this, so let's watch this with you. This is just into our newsroom. Okay, it's a tree fire. This is in Palos Heights. This happened during that severe weather outbreak, that Derecho that they are looking at. Their meteorologists saying that almost certainly is what this was tonight. You can see the top of that tree in flames, and there you see. Then this is going to be Chicago has so many, especially in older parts of the city, and this is Palos Heights again, but. You get these trees hit these power lines come down and fires start, and it can be a really dangerous situation, especially in alleys, in places where you were saying you can't see it. You can't see these power lines. You gotta, if you don't have to go outside, don't. You know, a lot of you listen to our warnings from our meteorologists to get to your safe space. O'Hare did that, Midway did that, get down to a lower floor. And so that's good news. As we've not heard yet, it's very early, any reports of any significant injuries.
And people at the airport said that the control tower was even told to evacuate when the tornadoes were touching down at Midway and O'Hare Airport. Let's get right back to our meteorologists, Larry Maurer and Cheryl Scott tonight with an update.
Watching that with you guys on our O'Hare camera was extraordinary. It's not something we've seen before on live television. To see it unfold, and it looked like you could actually see some debris. That was incredible, and that was how you guys were able to determine with the radar and then looking at this. It's a combination of both, right? Spotters and radar to really pinpoint what you're seeing, which was a tornado at O'Hare Airport.
I mean, so much has to come together, but we were getting reports too from the National Weather Service at this point in time that they could see a tornado on the ground from their web camera. It was also very hard to tell from this live video. It is so dark, so we don't want to say this was actual footage of that tornado on the ground. It could be in a different location, but we were seeing signs of some spin and circulation in the region. It wasn't a well-defined tornado that we could see in this one shot, but definitely something that we were watching closely, and the possibility of a tornado at that moment in time touching down on live TV as we're watching it with you. And Larry, it wasn't only O'Hare. We were getting reports of a tornado on the ground at Midway as well. I mean,
incredible moment there, where two potential tornadoes on the ground near our major airports at the same time. It was really a remarkable moment.
I like what we're showing here too between the both of us, because I have the history of the line, and you can see that it's going to continue to move off to the south and east. All the warnings out ahead of it, and this will likely be classified as a derecho, which is basically a storm that goes on for a very long time with strong damaging winds in excess of about 50 to 70 miles per hour, and it travels a great distance over
400 miles.
Yeah, 240 to 400 miles. So this will be definitely going down in the history books and doing a lot of damage. But now we get to see what's happening behind the line of storms with the 7-day behind you, which I love.
Got the past and the future right here, and the future looks better for us, that's for sure. It's still going to be warm tomorrow with a high of 87, but then we get some comfortable air for the rest of the week, and not many rain chances and no storm, really big storm chances in the 7-day forecast. Maybe a couple showers on Wednesday and maybe an isolated storm on Sunday, but some calmer, quiet weather, and we need a break here. We'll start to move in tomorrow, and really pleasant the rest of the week. So we need this. It'll help with the recovery and the cleanup tomorrow, and we'll have pretty nice weather the rest of the week.
All right, thank you both. We were talking about O'Hare and Midway Airport and the extraordinary opportunity that a tornado would touch down at both of the major airports. Let's take a look at some video coming in tonight from a viewer who was actually on the tarmac at O'Hare Airport tonight as those heavy rains and winds were pounding the tarmac and the winds. And several people on social media talked about they could feel the plane shaking as what they said the storm was passing through. And one saying that a captain came over the loudspeaker and told them that the control tower had to evacuate. So, of course, planes were not coming in. There was a ground stoppage. Planes weren't going out. But it had to be a very frightening experience to be on a plane, on the tarmac, out in the open. And they're going to be shocked to know that a tornado was confirmed to touch down in the O'Hare area.
Some new numbers coming in from ComEd, our assignment desk working the phones and getting an update here. This is as of 10:30. Now more than 250,000 people without power in our area. 296,207 ComEd customers reported without power tonight. That's a big number. That grew in just the last 45 minutes. So we're starting to assess now as ComEd gets out. It's going to be a busy couple days for those crews as they get out and try and restore that power. But close to 300,000 people without power.
And that's
tonight.
just ComEd. What about Indiana?
Right,
you know, our neighbors to the, South Indiana, because of course everything just moved right there. Let's now take some more looks at video here. Just coming into the newsroom, everybody, this is a fluid situation. So this is in DeKalb County where we're getting our first look at damage from a fire there. The storm sparking this. We had shown you earlier in Palos Heights. Small fires which appear to caused by the down power lines, or there might be the occurrence of a blown transformer. But this is incredible to see the rain coming down at this extraordinary rate and then the fire in the background. And that's according to people living near the damage. This is what they're seeing. Let's take a listen to what they saw and heard.
We've had a pretty serious storm going on with the rain and crazy winds. We were watching for tornadoes earlier, so we had 3 of the alarms going off. And then transformers in our backyards all blew and a tree fell onto them. Now we're trying to figure out what all has been affected out here. Trees are everywhere. We were already hit with branches in the backyard.
All right, so that's kind of one of our first, we call them sound bites, a sound from someone who witnessed this, and look at that. As we hear a crack of thunder downtown.
Yes.
I mean,
a light
it's
show.
Just been something, yeah. Still some thunder moving through Chicago. And there's a live picture there of downtown Chicago. We have a lot of news to get to, but want to remind you, you can track all of this, and a lot of you did this. If you lose power, but you still have a cell phone with cell service, you can download our app and watch us live anywhere on the planet, really, if you can just get a signal. Track us, download it, and then you can continue to follow these storms as well as us as we continue our coverage tonight. There is a lot of other news, though. This was a big first night at the 2024 Republican National Convention. Former President Trump making an appearance on the convention floor. There he is before events wrapped up for the night. You see the bandage on his ear where he was hit by a bullet during the assassination attempt at a